Saad to the red. He's got the blue. Shoots it. Score! Brandon Saad gives the Blues the lead.
Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. You heard Chris Kerber last night. You don't worry, you get the camera going.
I know.
Don't worry about the camera.
Bring it back.
It'll get on you.
The door. Doesn't like me.
Look, Marsh has got the camera. He's good to go.
He's good.
Blues were good to go last night.
How about that?
Maybe not initially.
But it's not about how you start, Anthony. It's about how you finish.
Yeah.
And they finished. They finished well. That's a great comeback victory. Down, 3-1 at one point, and able to claw back into that game and get a W. That to me is what you like to see from a team that's fighting and competing for a playoff spot.
It was just a fun game.
It is.
It didn't start that way. Absolutely. It didn't start that way. In the first period was rocky. Look, I know they had opportunities. I know they had some pretty good looks. Torrey Krug had a good look in the first period. Brandon Saad came up. I mean, he could have had 14 goals last night with some of the looks that he had. I realized that there were good looks throughout the course of the first period, maybe the second period.
You talking about the breakaway he had, and then he shot right into the goalie's chest?
That would be one of them, Marsh. That would be one of them. Yep, if you want to get details. I know there were good looks. They had good opportunities. But for the most part, if you're watching that game as a Blues fan, I don't have to tell you, that first period was not in your favor. You did not. You were chasing in the first period. You're chasing for most of the second period. But the tide turned, in my opinion, when Braden Shen scored the shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because the Blues added 2 in the third period to wind up winning it. It was that momentum had been seized again. The Flames had just scored to make it 3-1. Mm-hmm. The game is hanging in the balance, and then you get a power play, and you let up a breakaway opportunity, and Braden Shen buries it to make it 3-2. The momentum had got sucked out of the environment there in Calgary, and I thought that wound up being the difference maker. And credit the Blues for playing their best period in the third when they wound up winning it.
I thought they did a fantastic job. I mean, again, for me, it was good to hear the Calgary Flames fans boo them. At the end of that game, you heard the boos from their crowd, like, boo! What are you doing? How do you lose that game? And we have been on the other side of that often this year, where Blues fans are wondering, what the hell are you all doing? And so, for me, to find a way, the Braden Shen goal you talked about, shorthanded goal before the end of the second period, was awesome. Saad hitting it off the post and clanking it in right before the end of the third period. Like, that's what you have been waiting for. Just a team that doesn't quit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have, for me, if they would have lost that game in overtime or in the shootout, I would have been okay with that, because they fought their way back in. Where in times in the past, it feels like, you're holding on to the rope, and this team just like, hell it, let it go. And they'll just drop and just say, we're not going to make it. But they actually held on to the rope. Not only held on, they pulled themselves up out of it and got back on top. So that, to me, was a really good game for St. Louis, for the Blues last night.
Yeah, yesterday Jamie talked about that line in particular. He really liked that line, and of course that line came up big. Brandon Saad, Braden Shen, Jake Neighbors playing in front of his family. Like, I thought that line was excellent last night. And we always talk about depth with this Blues team. I thought through the first half of that game, the bottom six was really letting them down. They were taking penalties, things you cannot do if you're a bottom six player. You can't take penalties like that. But then as the game progressed in the second half, they had a shift in the third period that was awesome. The third and fourth line, they got it going, and I thought that is where the Blues started to pick up momentum. Then you bring out your big guns. You have Jordan Kyrou, who gets the game-tying goal. Like, that was a huge win for the Blues last night.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I didn't think, even though he allowed 3 goals, I didn't think Binnington played poorly. I think he actually kept them in it a couple of times with a couple of big saves.
He had 15 shots against in the first period.
15 or 16. Honestly felt the first 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah,
there was 15 shots.
I bet the board pick. I was like, hey, let's go.
You were set. What did he? 24?
27 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was at that, I think, by the start of the first period.
Yeah, I looked at one point.
I'm sorry, the third period.
Yeah, we looked at one point. It was 35 saves he had, or whatever it was, or maybe it was 35 shots. I'm like, okay, well, Marsh got that one. Yeah, that was that. So you're coming back to after you enjoy the moment, you enjoy the game, you enjoy the win, the comeback, and all that. You are back to, okay, what did I just see? Do you get the sense, guys, when you're watching the Blues, that after a win last night, do you say to yourself, that's the team I know they can be? Or is it more, that's the team I know they sometimes are every other week?
I think that one.
Me too.
That's the team I know they should be. But
Kind
not
of.
always that team.
Ish.
I don't know why. It's frustrating.
I don't know if I want them to be what I saw last night, because as much as they did good things right, there were a lot of mistakes in that game too.
Sure.
They need to clean some things up. Now, I do like that they pulled themselves together in they got the shorthanded goal, right? You get some momentum heading into the third period, and then they found a way to win that game. It was a tie game. I'm sure there were a few Blues fans out there that were thinking, oh, man, this is where they let up a goal late in the game. They don't get a point. This is a huge game for them standings-wise. Maybe I'm one of them. And then Brandon Saad scores. And so you get a sense of, okay, this team can come back and win games, not only at home. We saw that against Chicago, but they played a team that's above them in the standings on the road, and they've been not that great on the road. So this was a big-time win for them, and they need to keep that going into tonight. And I know tonight is a back-to-back, and you're playing one of the best teams in the NHL, but that's no excuse. You need maybe you don't win this game, but you need to have a strong showing tonight.
What do you think's going on with Torrey Krug, guys? Looks off.
Not good enough. I think
not great.
The frustrating thing, we were talking about Scandella, how well he was playing. Matthew Kessel has been playing extremely well. I think the frustrating thing is when your guys that are making top money don't perform well, it's hard to sit them or not allow them to play as many minutes, because Scandella played a hell of a game last night. I thought he saved a couple of opportunities for the Flames and didn't allow shots on goal. He just was I saw the man jump off of the ice. He looked like I ain't never seen a man jump that high off of ice skates. It was pretty impressive. It shows some athleticism, which I love. And so when I see that and I see a guy popping on film or popping when you're watching the game, it makes you wonder why that person doesn't get more time on the ice or more playing time. I can't speak to what's wrong with Krug. Justin Falk, we think he's still dealing with an injury, so that may be, and he played better last night, but a couple of games prior to that, he looked not right. So for me, at some point, feelings have to be set aside, and the people that are playing better, regardless of what their salary is, have to get more opportunities and more time.
I think Torrey Krug is, right now, it just seems like he's getting bad puck luck. I mean, you saw the bouncing puck at the blue line. He's trying to hold the blue line. It bounces over his stick. They go down and score, right? But to your point about Marco Scandella, if he does not get back and lift the stick,
yes,
and they score, game's over.
Game over.
So he essentially saved that game for the Blues last night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting with this roster. There's not a ton of flexibility, as we know, with the cap. Is there any sort of flexibility when it comes to Drew Bannister moving some guys around? I mean, one of the things that Doug Armstrong said that he was looking for, not just in Drew Bannister on an interim basis, but also moving forward when he does name his next head coach, is accountability. And you have to have that as a coach. We just saw the Bucks make a transition from a coach that had won 30 games already. He's 30-13, but there were issues with the defensive scheme. There are issues with in-game management. I mean, when you're an inexperienced head coach and some of that stuff happens when you're on a bad team, that can be overlooked. But not when you're a team that is either a contender or one that wants to at least be a wild card spot.
Right.
But I don't care if you're inexperienced or experienced. You have to be able to hold players accountable if you're going to be a leader. So does Drew Bannister step in and say, all right, I'm gonna maybe I start sitting some guys.
He's done that earlier with Pavel Buchnevich, having him sit. I think it sends a clear message to the team that we are here to win. And your job as an athlete, as a professional athlete, you get paid to do this, and you get paid to play at a certain level. The more money you make, the more is expected of you. And if you aren't playing to that level, then either you find someone else that will, or people lose their jobs. That's the nature of professional sports. And I know people think that no, you don't. That's how sports goes. If you're not doing your job to the ability that you should be, you eventually lose that opportunity or that privilege, that right to do that job. And so good teams make that understood and establish that as the mindset for everyone across the board. And if you are a bad team or a team not willing to, put your foot down in terms of guys playing and how much time they play, then you're going to struggle because the best players deserve to play, and the people that are showing up every single night are the ones that deserve to play the most.
That's Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers will join us from 3 to 6 tonight, so he'll be with us for the final 3 hours of the show, getting ready for the Blues and Canucks. Blues playing back-to-back last night in Calgary, obviously, and then Vancouver tonight. It's a 9 o'clock puck drop, so Jamie will be with us for the final 3 hours of the show. Again, right here on 101 ESPN, your home for the Blues Radio Network. We'll have the pregame for you starting at 8 o'clock, so going to be a late one for the boys tonight, but we'll have all the Blues coverage for you as they take on the Canucks. The Cardinals, have they set their expectations so high that they can't deliver anymore? Well, that's not our problem. That's a them problem. That's next on 101 ESPN. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marsham. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers will join us at 3 o'clock today. If the Cardinals set their expectations so high that they can't deliver anymore, this was an idea that Marsh pitched to us yesterday that we didn't get to. How I'd answer that directly, guys, before we kind of dive into the actual topic, is that that's not our fault. That's your fault, Cardinals. And that's a good thing. You established a winning culture. You won 11 championships. You have the second most championships behind the Yankees in MLB history.
Yeah.
You have the most in the National League. You set the expectations. The fans followed suit by going through the turnstiles every year, by watching your product, by showing up on the home opener, for the home opener, as if it were a SEC college football home opener.
It kind of means something.
It means something.
Yeah.
Fans followed suit because that's the expectations that you provided. So that now becomes a you problem if you're the Cardinals. It's a good problem because you've had such a winning culture. But we got an interesting text. And the text was, as I paraphrase, hey, if the expectations are just win the division and that's it, then, God help us all, basically. Because that's a pretty low bar. But Carey, you have been saying this repeatedly. This is the Cardinals' goal, is to simply win the division.
That's what they've told us.
I hate that, but it also kind of goes into who they are, right? This is an organization that is very risk averse. They don't take a lot of chances. They don't take a lot of risk. Even the big moves that they've made recently, and when I say recently, I mean now it's in the last 5 or 6 years. Goldschmidt. The Arizona Diamondbacks were not going to pay Paul Goldschmidt. Everybody knew it. The Cardinals acted appropriately. They put together a trade package that wound up being a fleecing.
Yeah, it worked well for them.
But they didn't give up anybody that hurt them in the long run. Same thing with Nolan Arenado. There was only a few spots that Nolan Arenado was going to waive his no-trade clause to go to. Matt Holliday did a great job in telling Nolan about the organization that is your St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals acted appropriately. They put together a trade package that stunk for the Rockies. They did a great job. They deserve credit for that. But even in those moves, guys, this is a risk-averse organization. So, of course, their expectation is, their goal is, win the division, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that first of all, the expectation to win a championship every year is not a bad expectation. Like, I think if you it should be a bad thing.
It should be the expectation.
Oh, it should be the expectation. I agree. So I think if that's the mindset that you have established for a number of years here in St. Louis, and you have fans that expect to win a championship every year, as you said, the second most in Major League Baseball, you're spoiled, and you should be. There is nothing wrong with expecting your team to perform well and play well. I'm excited that the Cardinals have built up that legacy and that mindset, and that's the standard. Now you want the team, the front office, everyone involved to match that energy. We want to see a team win championships. We want to see players here that are going to help you win championships. I think they did a fantastic job by getting Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, because those two players are, in my opinion, future Hall of Famers and championship caliber players. Now add more. Do more. Be better than listen, you can't be much worse than last year. You can be, but you ain't going to get ran the hell out of town. So be better than you were last year. Don't finish last in the division. Win the division, which I don't think is a tough task, but I think that this organization maybe wasn't prepared for life in 2023. The ban of the shift. Not playing as many National League Central games as you had in the past, where you could beat up on the Central, and now it wasn't the same. You don't play them as many times. You have more of a balanced schedule, which means you can't just play to win the division, because you got to play other teams more than you have in the past, the teams you play in the division, which means you have to put your team together that is able to beat teams that are not solely in your division. And I think that that's where the misstep took place for last year. Hopefully 2024, that has been rectified, and they can figure out how to move forward and make this team compete in the division, but also compete outside of the division, because you're going to have to.
I also think Yadier Molina not being on the team anymore,
yeah,
that was a huge factor. It just makes me wonder the pitching staff, like how much did he mask that pitching staff for the last 5 years?
I told you what it was, man. He's the A student.
Mm-hmm.
He did all of the work in the group project. They just showed up and put their damn names on it. Oh, yeah, Yadi got it. I don't need to study. I don't need to read. I don't need to watch. I don't need to. He's going to tell me what to throw, and damn it, I'm going to throw it. Because he did all of the work. Throw what? Gotcha. I'm not debating with you.
Nah, throw it
anyways. Okay, I'll try. You said it's going to work. He did all of the work. And then you get a catcher that may not be as great of a student, and we're using classroom as in terms of making the analogy. This guy needs the entire group to work together. You can still get an A on the project, but he ain't going to be the sole person working on the project. We got to work together. And that pitching staff, in my opinion, was not prepared to do the amount of work because Yadi had done it for 18 plus years.
So I wonder if they went out and got these veteran pitchers because that is the case, and now they know that the guys that they brought in are going to put in that extra work because they're seasoned, right? They've been around the league for a while, so maybe that is the reason why they brought them in.
So you bring up an interesting point. I was looking at Nick Saban. There's an article written about Nick Saban, obviously retired now, seven-time national champion, I think Nick Saban was, and it was about the 4 essentials for improvement when it comes to whether it's a company or, in his case, a program, but we can relate this to the Cardinals. As I read through the fourth steps here, the 4 essentials for improvement, and the Cardinals are trying to improve. Listen to this. Number 1, identify the dream. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? We would love it, I would love it, for the Cardinals to have their dream be identified as winning a World Series. That is what I would love for the Cardinals to accomplish and what the goal is. They, by their actions, suggest otherwise, though. So what do they want to accomplish? What do they want to do? To Carey's point, based on what they've said and based on their actions, what they want to accomplish is winning the division. Just kidding. Define what it takes to do it. Once again, laid out in detail. What are actionable steps that you must take to work towards your dream? Well, if the dream is to win the National League Central, what do you need to do? You need to replace 3 pitchers. And they did that. They took those steps. Number 4, are you willing to actually do it? Yes, they executed that plan, again, based on what you're trying to accomplish, which is winning the NL Central. And do you have the discipline to do it every day, even if you don't feel like it? The Cardinals are a very disciplined organization. Not all the time. Okay? You can always cite certain examples, but they are disciplined. This is where it comes in, the be patient motto, right? Just be patient. We're going to take this nice and slow. So, Marsh, when you bring up bringing in certain pitchers, I don't think it was about bringing in certain pitchers. Maybe it was. Maybe it was about veteran guys coming in to overcome whatever Wilson Contreras can and can't do behind the plate. Maybe it was part of that. But I think they merely signed 3 pitchers to win the division. That's what their actions are telling us. If they wanted to do more, they would have done more. But they raced into the market to get Lance Lynn and Gibson quickly. Then they signed Sonny Gray not too long after that. They didn't wait to play the game of, what's the market for Blake Snell? What's the market for Yamamoto? They raced in. Why? Because their goal was clear: win the division.
And that's why they don't win in the playoffs.
And that's why they don't win in the playoffs.
Because you have to have that expectations of winning a World Series. And again, they're not going
different mindset.
They're not going to do that every year. That's just not possible, right? And if it were, then we would be having parades here every October or every November, whenever the World Series ends nowadays. But they don't have that expectation anymore, and that's why they're not winning in the playoffs.
I agree wholeheartedly. Understand what I'm saying here. I don't like that mindset. Don't assume that because I'm explaining this in a certain way that, Anthony just wants them to win a division. I don't. It takes a different mindset, though, to win a championship, especially in baseball when you're a mid-market team. You have to think differently. It goes back to our conversation yesterday about thinking outside the box, willing to take risks when others are not, willing to go down an avenue that other teams aren't looking at in order to build your roster.
Yeah.
The Cardinals aren't willing to do that. Why? Because the goal has always been clear. Win a bad division and then see what happens.
And here's the problem with that. They don't play as many games in the division anymore. So your philosophy is probably broken.
Flawed, yes.
It's probably a bad philosophy if you just plan on winning the division. Yeah, you can win the division when you play the Pittsburgh Pirates X number of times or the Cincinnati Reds X number of times. You're going to beat up on them. So your record is going to be better, and your record versus them is going to be better. Now, cut it in half. You don't play those teams as many times. You don't have as many chances to beat up on teams that you deem terrible. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? You have to actually win games versus teams that can compete. Teams in the NL East, teams in the NL West. You have to. Yes.
Well, the other teams are playing those teams too.
Are playing the same teams.
Well, you still have but you don't have as many opportunities to beat up on those teams, which means if you split and then you go and not beat up on the other, it makes it more difficult to win the division.
Look, I agree.
And I think that we saw that last year.
Ultimately, your point is well made, Carey. It's different now. It's different. But I wonder how much playing in the NL Central has masked their vision, right? Like has distorted, not masked, distorted their vision. We're a 93-win team. You're an 87-win team in a more competitive division. You're an 85-win team in a more competitive division. This division has distorted their vision of who they are, in my opinion. Maybe we'll be proven wrong this year.
We got an interesting text from the 980. Would you guys have an issue with the Cardinals having a goal of winning the division if they were in the East or the West, where it's far greater competition?
No, of course not. Great question.
Yeah.
No, I would not have an issue if they were in the AL East battling out with the Blue Jays and the Yankees and the Orioles and the Red Sox.
Because if you win that division, that proves that you are one of the top teams in baseball.
Exactly. The Orioles winning that division last year, that maybe they needed a little bit more experience to get over that hump. But them winning it, going through that gauntlet to win that division, you already get kind of the prize of you already get that ribbon of you're one of the best teams in the league. Mm-hmm. It doesn't guarantee you success in the postseason. Baltimore proved that. But you already went through that gauntlet. To win the Central, hey, just get in, is a flawed line of thinking, especially after Carey just mentioned, especially with a more balanced schedule. Why doesn't anybody want to hire one of the best head coaches ever? And don't tell me it's just because of the Tom Brady record thing. That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues win 4-3 in Calgary over the Flames last night. A nice come-behind victory for the Blues. They have a back-to-back, though, as they take on the Vancouver Canucks with the pregame starting at 8 o'clock tonight, puck drop at 9, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We'll talk with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, at 4:30, so stay tuned for that. Also, Jamie will join us at 3 o'clock. He'll be in for the rest of the show from 3 to 6. Once again, Blues Canucks tonight right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Get this out of the way. I know Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady. I get it. It's like 83 or 87 and 100 and something. I get it. He's got like 80 plus wins without Tom Brady. People look at that and say, man, look at it. He's nothing without Brady. I look at it and I say, the dude's got 80 plus wins with Matt Castle and the last remaining bits of Bernie Kosar and Jacoby Brissett and Cam Newton, the shell of Cam Newton. He's got 80 something odd wins. That's pretty good. I also realize that there are plenty of criticisms still left for Bill Belichick. I mean, you don't erase what we've seen over the last couple of years and say, oh, yeah, this guy is still well ahead of it. However, for no team outside of Atlanta to be interested in him, and we know this because every team either announces themselves or has somebody in the media announce what interviews they're going through. For no team outside of Atlanta to interview this guy is befuddling to me, Carey. What do you think is going on with this?
I think it's just I think maybe people feel like the course, it has run its course. What he did in New England was outstanding, but I think we're in a space now where people want to hire the hot offensive coordinator or the hot defensive coordinator, the innovative guy that can make plays look like, that make plays look beautifully and have receivers running wide open in a run game that creates offense and gets big plays, big chunks. I think that's where we are right now. And Bill Belichick is just a, hard hat on, go to work. In Cincinnati, he's not going to talk much. He's not going to give you bulletin board material, but his teams are going to be prepared. Yep. No matter who you're playing, no matter who they're playing, your best player is going to have a rough day because he's going to eliminate that threat versus his defense. And we've seen that time and time again. That's one thing that he does, I think, better than anybody in football. If you want to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill, guess what? You're going to have to throw it to Jalen Waddle. You're going to have to find a way to run the ball with Raheem Mostert. We are not going to let Tyreek Hill kill us because we know he's a killer. So I think Bill Belichick does that well, but for some reason, maybe people feel like the game has kind of passed them by, and you've seen, I think some people are buying into the notion that Tom Brady was the stir that stirred the drink? The straw that stirred the drink? There you go. The straw that stirred the drink,
yeah.
So I think maybe that's kind of the mindset.
And Marsh, I'm interested in your thought here too. But again, on that, like, look, Tom Brady is the GOAT, right? But he was with the Patriots. So was Belichick. They were together. They were a pairing. Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. These guys are pairings. Tom Brady didn't coach up Malcolm Butler to be ready for that exact route. Correct. In that Super Bowl to pick it. He didn't prepare Brady with various offenses that were ever changing. One time it was let's highlight the slot receiver. Then it was double tight ends. Then it was Randy Moss. There are certain eras with Tom Brady helped Bill Belichick win Super Bowls. Right. Bill Belichick helped fill in everything else with Brady, including in-game strategies.
I think there's a few Super Bowls that the Patriots don't win if it weren't for Bill Belichick. Look at the Rams game. They shut down that offense. They didn't even score a touchdown.
Against Jared Goff.
Against Jared Goff. Like, that was a high-octane offense. Yep. One of the reasons, though, that perhaps maybe teams aren't looking into Bill Belichick is maybe they want to establish something long-term, get one of these young coaches, build something like we've seen some of the other coaches in the NFL. Like, I'm sure every team wants a Mike Tomlin as their head coach, just sustain success, whether or not they're making the playoffs, but over 500 record, like, I bet teams love that. So they want to find that next head coach. I don't know how much longer Bill Belichick has in this league. If he does go to the Falcons, how long is he with the Falcons? Is he with them for 5 years, 6 years, or is he there for maybe 2 or 3 years?
That's a very good point.
Yeah. Ultimately.
And then the next thing, they're looking for the next head coach.
Sure. Ultimately, though, I think, I think Bill Belichick is a football lifer. I also thought that was Nick Saban, and then Nick Saban retired. So I've been wrong before many times. I've been wrong many times
Wrong
again.
Ernie.
Wrong again. I'd be more interested now in Belichick than ever, though, because he's not having to build a roster. Like, if you're Atlanta, the roster is well on its way.
Right.
You obviously need a quarterback. There's other elements that you need. But that roster is good. You need somebody to come in and say, this is how we're going to game plan with this roster.
Right.
That has always been Belichick's strength. Him rebuilding the roster was his downfall in New England, on top of course, Tom Brady going to Tampa. But you could tell over the years he was trying to rebuild the roster on the fly, and it just didn't work. Now that a roster would be established, he can come in and say, this is what I want to do with this roster. I can highlight the strengths and weaknesses of this roster and prepare it. And in game, there's still very few that are better than him.
For me, you're a Falcons fan, right? So you've watched
Tortured. You got to throw tortured in front of it. Yeah.
You've seen them play a lot.
Yeah.
Is that offense other than Bijan Robinson is a star.
Yeah.
But then they give Tyler Algier a lot of carries. What do you do with that offense? Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London. Like, what is the recipe for that offense to be successful?
It is as simple as finding a quarterback. It is.
That's it?
The offensive line is set. That's one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the league. You don't need more than Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier in the backfield. You do need speed. Drake London's a really good receiver. He doesn't have much speed.
Right.
Kyle Pitts, I think, was still hurt last year, but even so, he's still not somebody that's got a ton of speed.
Right.
I think they're missing speed on that offense, and obviously the quarterback. Other than that, the framework is already there. And Belichick can help fill in the gaps defensively for that team.
Yeah, I guess that's what does he provide? Because he's not an offensive coach per se, but
sure.
What does Bill Belichick provide for a team like the Falcons, or any team? I mean, who could benefit most from a coach that has had the success that he's had in this league?
Atlanta.
Okay. You think they're a head coach and a quarterback away from being because I don't see them as a team making a push in the playoffs. I feel like they still, and maybe I haven't watched enough Falcon games last year. I just know.
Nobody should.
Yeah, no, it was terrible when I did watch. And so I don't know if just the head coach gets them over the hump, because I feel like a team like the Chargers could use a Bill Belichick more than the Atlanta Falcons could.
You'd obviously have the quarterback there. There's no disputing that. Let me just run through this I'll be real quick on this. It's not just the Super Bowl. Washington, 1 possession. Tennessee, 1 possession. Minnesota, 1 possession. Arizona, 1 possession. Tampa, 1 possession. Carolina, 1 possession. 6 of their losses last year were 1 possession games in which they had a late lead.
The Falcons.
Yes. Belichick is one of those guys that in game knows how to, he understands when to make moves to help win games. Go back the year prior. I'd be willing to bet there are 6 or 7 games that they lost 1 possession and they blew leads. They need somebody to show them how to win.
Right.
And it can be just as simple as that. Now, if you don't get the quarterback, it's not going to be right. But go ahead, Marshall.
Interesting text here from the 636. Maybe Belichick will only interview with teams that he is interested in. So that's why there isn't any news of him interviewing more. It's a
great point. Mike Florio also had a report today that said that he doesn't want to deal with a large media market. That's also Atlanta. So he doesn't want to go maybe to Dallas if their spot was open, or Philadelphia.
Right.
He doesn't want the high profile. New England was off the radar when he went there.
Right.
Yeah, it's the Boston market, but they were paying attention, I think, largely more to the Red Wings or the Red Sox and the Bruins. I guess, I don't know. Going back, I don't know who was good at that point. But Atlanta is a soft media market. There's nobody's paying attention to the Falcons, so he can kind of do whatever he wants. I still think ultimately it's going to get it. That deal is going to get done. Mm-hmm. I just think as meticulous as he is, he wants to make sure it's right, and it's probably taken a while. And if you're Arthur Blank, you can't sit on your hands. You got to continue to interview people. Apparently, John Harbaugh, that second interview with the Falcons has been nixed. So maybe Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. Perhaps, John's probably busy.
He's got a job.
Perhaps Jim Harbaugh is going to the Chargers, or he already knows that Belichick's going to get the job. I don't know. I'm a little surprised that some of these other head coaching positions haven't been filled yet. What's trending is next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, I brought this up yesterday at the end of the show, and thanks to the Snake Pit, they let us know that Fangraphs has the Cardinals projected to win 85 games this upcoming year, 85-77 for the sixth best record in baseball.
Wow.
Okay.
No team over 100 wins in that graph. So what do you guys think about the Cardinals having the sixth best record in baseball this upcoming year, according to Fangraphs?
We're happy, right?
Absolutely.
Does that mean they win the division?
I think it does.
We have to, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
They had the Cubs and Brewers both tied at 80 wins.
Well,
I think the Reds or the Pirates are going to be better. So, yeah.
that would be
That's a winner.
The Cardinals' goal is to win the division with however many wins it requires to win said division.
And then you get to play in the playoffs, Anthony.
Yes, you do.
And if you play in
For
the
at least
playoffs,
a short period.
well, anything can happen, sir. That's what we go for. Just get in. Anything can happen.
Yeah. I think with the balanced schedule that we were talking about before, I'll get you that T-shirt.
I need that.
I think
I'm
with
going to wear it.
I know
when
you
they
will.
clinch the Central Division. Just get in.
You're going to wear it with pride. Yep.
Yeah.
Given the balanced schedule that we're talking about before, 85 wins I think is very realistic. 80 to 85 wins.
Not 91 losses, because that's what they had. It wasn't great last year.
No.
Anthony, I don't know if you recall. They had 71 last year, 71 wins. So they're going to win, what was that, 14 more games than they did last year? Oh, yeah. Can I ask how?
Sure.
Okay.
Milwaukee won't get off its dead ass and try. Pittsburgh isn't good.
They got Rhys
Cincinnati-
Hoskins.
They did get Rhys Hoskins.
Did
We'll
they
see what
sign
he
him?
is.
Good
Yeah,
for
they did.
them.
2-year deal. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Pittsburgh isn't trying. Cincinnati said, we got all this good young talent now. We don't have to do anything else. Cincinnati's a good, young, exciting team. They're not going to add to it, though. So they're not trying. And the Cubs think that the manager's going to solve everything. So, yeah, you ask me how? The division's not good.
All right.
That's how.
Win the division.
And the Cardinals have improved.
Yeah.
However slightly, they have improved. So there you go. And people say I'm not optimistic
There
about your
you go.
Redbirds.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
go.
I feel great.
All
Let's
right.
go Cards.
Hell yes. Joe Mauer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Does that make Yadier Molina an instant no-brainer first ballot Hall of Famer?
Instant? No brainer? No, because Joe's got some hardware.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Joe won, let's see here.
5 Silver Sluggers. He had 3 Gold Gloves.
6-time All-Star, was the 2009 MVP. Yeah, Yadi's got him in Gold Gloves. He was also a 3-time AL batting champion.
That matters.
Joe's a dude. Not that this matters for the Hall of Fame stuff, but great story. He Mr. Minnesota.
Yeah, he's a 10-time All-Star. Joe was a 6.
Okay.
But I think, fair or unfair, I think I don't think Yachty gets the notoriety outside of St. Louis because he isn't Joe Mauer at the plate. Or even Buster Posey at the plate. The amount of what Yachty did was control the entire game from behind the plate. And I don't think people give enough credit to defense. Now, I do believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I don't think people give enough credit to what he did defensively. Because they put the offensive numbers up and they it's not as great.
Let me be clear about this. So Marsh talking about like first ballot Hall of Famer based on Joe Mauer. No, Joe Mauer won an MVP. Joe Mauer was a 3-time batting champion. Like Joe Mauer was a stud. But Yachty should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. It goes into what Carey was saying about the defensive catcher. He also might be the last great defensive catcher. In fact, I'm willing to bet he will be the last great defensive catcher based on where the league is headed. And if the league does bring in umpires that, it's a robotic strike zone or whatever.
Not gonna matter.
It's not going to matter. Framing and all this, it's not going to matter. Yachty may wind up being the last great, pure, defensive, absolute blanking stud behind the plate, and that should mean something to baseball. So I think Yachty should be a Hall of Famer because his contributions to the game, the way he impacted the game, go far beyond statistical numbers.
Mm-hmm. Last thing here, Vic Fangio and the Dolphins have mutually parted ways, and now the Philadelphia Eagles are supposedly going to be that landing spot. They're in talks with Vic Fangio. So what does that mean for the Eagles, and can they get back to where they were 2 years ago?
Yeah, that would be a great addition. So when the Eagles made the Super Bowl last year, Vic Fangio was a consultant for them, a defensive consultant. And there have been reports that he had a huge impact on that Eagles team last year, despite not being the coordinator. Mm-hmm. The reason why I went to Miami is because they didn't know if Jonathan Gannon, who wound up being the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, was going to get a head coaching position. So if he didn't, he was going to remain the DC. And Vic didn't want to wait around as a consultant to find out. So Miami had an opening. Miami made an offer. He went to Miami. He was Dolphins DC last year. But the reason why he's circling back to the Eagles is because Gannon obviously went on to become Arizona's head coach. The defensive coordinators there were a disaster.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia wound up being in that spot late in the year. So this is a massive upgrade for the Eagles if Vic Fangio winds up being their DC. I see Jamie Rivers. He's on with us right now. He'll be with us for the final 3 hours of the show, and we'll get into last night's epic comeback for the Blues, break down what went right for the Blues next with Jamie Rivers on 101 ESPN. 3:02, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Jamie Rivers joining us for the final 3 hours of the show today. And Jamie, what a victory last night for the Blues. Of course, we led off the show talking about it, but you can break it down. Some would say you could break it down better or more clear, or better is probably the right way to say that than Carey and I. Very impressive.
I'm sure
though.
You guys did excellent, Anthony.
I'm sure we did just fine. Fast lane fine. But that was a fun game. It didn't start off that way. I said to these guys, not just because they scored the two goals in the third period, but I thought the game changed on that shorthanded goal by Brayden Schenn. Now, should he have scored the first goal of said game? Yeah, he should have. He should have done that earlier before Saad got his goal. I thought about that line. I thought about Saad. I thought about Schenn. Right church, wrong pew.
Now, why did you want him to score first right away, Anthony?
Oh, because I had him, Brayden Schenn, in our first goal of the game. I felt like I deserved some credit for reverse engineering that puppy, because you had Jake Neighbors, and I thought, there's something about that line that Jamie really likes. It turns out that was the best line on the ice last night, but I thought the game turned when Schenn scored that shorthanded goal. What about you?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, there's a lot to unpack when you look at that game last night. I said it on the broadcast. It was like the tale of two different games, because the Blues started the game in the first 8-9 minutes of play. They carried it. I mean, at one point I thought it's just going to be a drubbing, because the Calgary Flames looked disorganized. They were in retreat mode. Markstrom was scrambling, making saves. Like, if Jacob Markstrom doesn't stand on his head in the first 7-8 minutes, it's probably 3 or 4-0 Blues in the first period. But he made some big saves, and the Blues couldn't capitalize. And then the craziest thing is, like, the momentum just shifted to where the Flames all of a sudden were skating around at will. The offensive zone time was all Calgary Flames. You could just feel a goal coming, and it happened. And then you're scrambling to the point where in the second period you've got a whole bunch of turnovers happening. You've got more goals against. It's not an ideal situation. But to your point, Anthony, is all it takes is that one moment. And Brayden Schenn, if you go back and watch the goal itself, he does exactly what he's supposed to do. On a lost faceoff, the net front forward is supposed to tear out of the gate and get right to the puck. Disrupt as much as you can right away to try and nullify any setup that the power play has. So Brayden Schenn does that. He shot out of a cannon. He's straight out to Mackenzie Weegar, who kind of lollygags his way with it, and then he looks up and sees that Brayden Schenn is right in his grill. So then he tries to make a quick move, but his stick goes over the puck, and Brayden Schenn pokes the puck, and he heads down and scores that goal. And that was the momentum changer. Anthony, you're 100% right, because you watch the reaction of the Flames players. You watch Mackenzie Weegar. He comes all the way back to his own net and smashes his stick off the post, and he's all angry. And it's right before the intermission. It's that little boost of energy that the team needed to go in. Now you're down by a goal on the road. If you go out there and you score a goal or you win the period, you have a possibility of winning a hockey game. Right. And that's where it's set up. So you're right. The momentum did shift on the shorthanded goal. And oddly enough, and I didn't know this at the time, found out moments after, but that was Brayden Schenn's first shorthanded goal ever in his career.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I would never have thought that. Even when it was, passed on to us, I didn't believe it. No. John Kelly and I are up there fact-checking the fact guy.
This can't be right.
Yeah, this guy can't be right. But yeah, it was a huge moment for the team at that point, and it did. It swung things in the Blues' direction.
What else did you see last night in that game? Like you said, there's a lot to unpack. So that might have been the moment that things shifted for the Blues. But what other smaller takeaways that you could see being there that maybe we didn't recognize watching it on our TVs?
Well, I don't know if it's like recognizable or not. I think it's just straight up facts. The turnovers were awful.
Yeah.
You look at the Blues turnovers in their defensive zone and the neutral zone towards the end of the first period and almost the entire second period. They started to try and go side to side, and it was getting picked off. Like one shift, the Thomas line had 4 or 5 turnovers in their one shift, and it was stuff that created momentum for the Calgary Flames to generate a little bit of offense, if nothing else, zone time, to which you couldn't afford at the time because you're already playing catch up in the game.
Right.
So for me, a big thing I noticed was come to third period, whatever Drew Bannister and the coaching staff said to the team, it was a totally different look. They were moving straight forward up the ice, playing very direct, great puck support. Now, Brandon Saad, he just had a tremendous game. He was going right from the get-go. The legs were there. He had several scoring opportunities. I think he had 3 breakaways, and he ends up with 2 goals in the game. So for me, the big change was going from side to side and turning the puck over to playing way more direct, supporting the puck, getting the puck in deep, and then taking to the net. And you could see the game turn right there for the Blues.
Jamie, can you talk about Marco Scandella and what you saw from him last night? He looked like he was really popping on, in that game yesterday, making some big plays, preventing a goal there, I think, in the third period, just really having a really good game.
And this is why Marco Scandella's in your lineup right now, guys. When he was out for 3 games in a row, Coach Drew Bannister had healthy scratched him. The coaching staff, it's not just one guy who healthy scratches a player, but he was out. And then, when he got put back in the lineup against Washington before the time when the Blues played Washington here at Enterprise, Drew Bannister said, we haven't won a game since we've scratched Marco Scandella. He's like, think of it what you will, but he's going back in. We're going to put him back in. We like his size. We like the way he closes out plays. He's good defensively. He's got a good stick. And Marco Scandella, the Blues have won 2 in a row now with him back in the lineup. He just provides that solid defensive play that the Blues need on a consistent basis. And last night, honestly, may have been one of his best games ever that I've seen him play with a Blue Note on. He just was solid. He was in guys' faces. He was using his speed. He was a part of the attack in the offensive zone. Had a couple of good shots on net. And then, Carey, to your point, what an effort on that one to stop the bus, basically, and head back on the back check. And those situations usually end up in penalties or penalty shots because the referee, as soon as you do anything to impede that goal scorer, the arm goes up. That's it. That's 2 minutes. And if it's really bad, we're getting a penalty shot here, especially in the home crowd. We're going to get them all fired up here.
Jamie,
but it didn't happen.
Sticking with the defense, Matthew Kessel, I thought last night it looked like he was gaining just more confidence with the puck. You mentioned on the broadcast that he got the puck, just fired it right on, never a hesitation. Any shot's a good shot. What have you been seeing from him so far?
Well, he's been steady. It's the point where you don't notice him, and when you do notice him, it's not for bad things. And I think that the biggest thing that when you look at a rookie in any league or any sport is you can usually see, the young guy, he's still got room to grow, and you notice the little mistakes here and there. Matthew Kessel has not had those moments. I think last night, towards the end of the first period, he had his first couple of, we'll call it stumbles, to where he looked like he was a little overwhelmed. Not him personally, per se, but the Flames were on the attack, and Kessel fell victim to a couple of little plays, but that's it. Think about this. It's been 12 games now, I believe, that he's played, and I'm isolating one half of a period to talk about something where it wasn't even just, Kessel on an island here. There was the whole entire Blues roster that was not playing well at the time. And so, I said there's a reason that Marco Scandella's in your lineup. There's a reason Matthew Kessel's in your lineup. He makes your team better. He makes your defensive core better. And I like his puck decisions. I like the way he's physical in front of the net. And now that he's shooting the puck at the net and being a little more confident, I just don't see any reason why you'd take this guy out of the lineup. I mean, he just hasn't given me or the coaching staff any moments to pause and look and go, you know what, he's being overwhelmed right now. It just hasn't happened.
Tonight, the Blues will take on Jamie's other favorite team, the Vancouver Canucks, at 9 o'clock. Jamie's been all
Personal
over
favorite.
The Canucks when it comes to our bet the board situation. So,
okay, good point.
yeah,
That's a pretty good team.
I understand why. I mean, when you look at the record and look what they've done, they've won 8 of the last 10 games. They have been outstanding this season. They've been,
but not tonight.
but not tonight. 9 o'clock, puck will drop in Vancouver. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on the Blues Radio Network 101 at ESPN. If the Cardinals have another bad season, would it dismantle everything they've built over the last 20 years? Kind of sounds harsh. We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
Selling your home is a big deal, and it's difficult to know when the best time is to sell your home. It's tough during holiday time, and now it's the new year. Is this the time to do it? Is it in the spring? Or how about what price should I ask? You're trying to figure out the market all by yourself. Well, stop doing that. Stop. Use the best in the business, and that's Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria is the best in the business for several reasons. One is because she already has the buyers. She has a database with thousands of buyers that are ready, willing, and able to purchase your home. And what that does is it drives way more traffic to your listing and hopefully multiple offers, which means more money in your pocket. And Gloria Liu loves to help people out. And that's why she has certain options as well. The one that I love is guaranteed sales. All that means is Gloria Liu will sit down with you, the home seller, and figure out the asking price, and then she'll sell your home for that price, or she buys it herself, and she guarantees all of that in handwriting. So please, if you're looking to sell your home and you want to sell it fast, call Gloria Liu. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you. Her number is 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the price as well as the possession date.
So when I teased the last segment, I said if the Cardinals have another bad season, would it dismantle everything that they've built for the past 20 years? I looked up, and Jamie Rivers from his hotel room was like, nah. Then I looked over at Carey, and Carey went, And he had that look of, maybe.
Feels like it's a lot.
Oh, coming from just win the division, baby, himself.
Just win, baby.
No, it ain't been that. You lying son of a gun. It has been win the division, not just
the
win.
Division.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Sidestepping.
Win and you're in.
Just get in.
Just get in. Anything's possible.
I don't know how you guys feel. I don't want to cheapen the 06 experience for Cardinals fans. I don't want to cheapen the 11's experience for Cardinals fans by saying, yeah, the last 2 seasons, if they don't make the playoffs, yeah, then everything else goes away. No, I don't think that. I think it's more in line with this is a culmination of things that have transpired that unfortunately has led you to this spot where you altered your approach as a franchise and it didn't work. And then maybe you have to make a change in the front office. But, man, I can't say that it dismantles everything you've done over the last 20 years.
What about from a fan standpoint, though?
What do you think about that?
From a fan standpoint, how can it be, guys? Like, honestly, like I know we're passionate Cardinals fans, and I know everybody wants to win a World Series. But I can't imagine that up until last season, people, let's try that in English, were appalled. I can't imagine that people were appalled with the product they've been watching on the field. Like, I hate the whole, hey, we got into the playoffs, hey, we're a wild card team. Nobody was pissing and moaning when they had that epic run at the end of the one season to get themselves into the playoffs. Nobody cared about that. All of a sudden, the Cardinals were great again. And nobody really cared too much when Albert hit his home runs, and that season there ended not the way they wanted it to because you didn't get a world championship. But people like, yeah, they were upset, but they weren't like completely appalled with the Cardinals. I can't believe what this organization is now. Like, come on, guys. Like, everybody, like, just pump the brakes a little bit here. The Cardinals organization overall, from a league standpoint, seems to be very well respected as a franchise. Now, do we, as Cardinals fans, want more? Yeah, of course. I want to win the World Series every single friggin' year. But I also have to sit back and look at, I just take my Toronto Blue Jays. Grew up watching the Toronto Blue Jays Montreal Expos. Well, we know what happened to the Expos, okay?
Sorry, Jamie.
But it's okay. They're going to be back, don't you worry. Calling you. But the Toronto Blue Jays, we won back-to-back World Series in the early 90s, and that's it, man. That's it. And that's a passionate, like, that's an entire country cheering for one damn team, not just a city, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I look at it from the wrong vantage point, but this organization making it fun for people to go to the games and watch them and be a part of it and always kind of be a competitive team, I feel like that you can't look at that as a failure.
I agree. I think, 2 losing seasons in a row back-to-back, it may feel really bad, especially if it goes in the manner in which it went last year. Last year we do this every day. We are obligated to a degree to watch as many Cardinal games. Hey, I didn't want to watch that, man. I didn't want to watch that performance knowing that it was going to turn out in the way that it did most nights. It's tough to watch. And I'm sure that many fans that are listening right now that have watched all last season felt the same way. It's not fun. It's not something that you want to spend 2.5, 3 hours doing every single night. But you can do something different. So from a fan perspective, yeah, you want a team that is going to work their butt off, fight every single night, put yourself in a position to win games. And if not, you're probably not going to tune in. You're probably not going to show up. At least you shouldn't, if it's the same way. But I don't think you can say that it's going to be that it's the collapse of the St. Louis Cardinals. No, they do need to figure out who they are, what their identity is, and how they plan on winning games, not just winning the division, because the expectation here, as I've told you all, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is the same with the Steelers. It's not to make it to the playoffs. It's not to host an AFC championship game. It's to be in the damn Super Bowl. That's and not be in it to win it. And that's the expectation here in St. Louis for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's to play in the playoffs and then win a world championship. And if that's not the mindset of everyone in the front office, then people become extremely frustrated.
So, Marsh, what were you thinking? Because you had chimed in. What about the fan base and how the fan base looks at it? What's your angle on it?
I just think, this team, this organization has built a powerhouse, at least in the past 20 years. And then, ever since then, ever since I'd say 2014, 2015, they haven't been the same organization. And this has been building. We've talked about this. It seems like this has been building up until what last year was. And I think if there's another year like that, I wonder if fans with the economy how it is, if they just stop caring as much as they did before, because to them it seems like the Cardinals have stopped caring about trying to be the team that they were 10 years ago. It's not the same team. It just doesn't seem like it's being ran the same.
Yeah, and that's where I think there's a lot of misconception. Or the Cardinals, and I'm not saying you're saying this, Marsh, you're kind of echoing some of maybe the fans' frustration in this, and there's probably a group of fans that feel like you just illustrated, Marsh. But let's really think about this and be honest and be fair. Did the Cardinals stop caring, or did what they were doing stop working?
Oh, I think it's the latter.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
there's a huge difference.
Anthony, you
in
don't
that.
say many things that make sense, but that really did.
Thank you. Maybe I hit my head coming in. I don't remember it. To jog something, I'm sure I'll hit my head again, and I'll go back to the same idiot I was before, Jamie. But thank you for saying that.
You did good.
Thanks, kid. But to say that they don't care, or they stop caring, or they only care to do X amount, and that's it. I think their strategy, their philosophy needs to be updated again. To their credit, they did try to change. They tried to change after the 2019 NLCS. It failed miserably. It didn't work. And they need to course correct quickly. In John Mozeliak was likely his final couple of years here as the president of baseball operations. But I don't think it's a situation where it's like, we don't care. We got your money. Thanks. What they've been doing just hasn't worked.
Yeah,
they're behind.
It's time to adapt and kind of reset and figure out what does work. We talked about it earlier, just the fact that you could play so many division games, and now you don't have that opportunity, and you have to figure out how to beat teams in the NL West, how to beat teams in the NL East. You have to figure out how to beat teams that you probably didn't have to contend with as much in the past, and now you do. And those changes from 2022 to 2023, it felt like it caught up really quickly because that was a terrible season. And you would assume that 1 year removed from the rules that were implemented, how the schedule would be changed, you would assume that it wouldn't be that drastic for the St. Louis Cardinals, but it felt like it was.
Now, I'm not saying this is the exact model or their philosophy or their thinking or anything, but when we go back to the expectations conversation that we were having, it seems like 10 years ago, that expectation for this organization was to win the World Series. That's why they were in the NLCS for like 4 years in a row, and they went to a few World Series and won one of them. Like, it just seems like the expectations have changed. Now we're talking about, well, just win the division, just get in. Like, it doesn't seem like that was the expectation for this organization 10 years ago. Back in the day, it was let's get to the NLCS and let's go win ourselves a World Series. And their roster showed that they were one of the 4 best teams in the league for 4-5 years.
I think that, and Jamie, I'm interested in your thought on that. I don't think it was an organizational philosophy that came from up top. I think that was a Tony La Russa thing. I think we miss Tony. I
think you definitely miss the leadership of somebody like that. And just to kind of go back on all of this, what we're talking about, guys, I don't think the expectation necessarily changed. And I certainly don't think that the Cardinals are sitting there saying that, we don't have to, we're doing everything we can. I think that what happened here is that a certain level of arrogance and complacency crept in. I think that the organization had a lot of success on the field, probably even more success off the field. And I'm just talking financially, to where once, the new Busch Stadium was built and Ballpark Village and all that stuff. I hate to couple it all in there, but as an ownership group or ownership family, you're looking at this saying, hey, we're doing this the right way. We're getting in the playoffs. We get 3 million people through the gate every year. We're second in national championships or world titles here, and next to the Yankees, who obviously we're a historic franchise. Like, you start to pat yourself on the back a little bit too much. And at one point, you break your arm doing it. And I think that's where we're at right now, is last year, they broke their arm patting themselves on the back, and it blew up in their face. Yeah. And so now it's a little bit of panic mode to where, the forest fire has gotten too big and you have a garden hose. Sure. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at with this, where from a organizational standpoint, they need to refocus and get back to their roots, which is finding the best players, drafting the best players, developing it, and then exhausting resources in things like a pitching lab and whatever if it's line drive and things like that, like all of the necessities that your athletes need.
I've got Lisa's voice in my head with the manager thing, though. I do think there is something to that. Tony La Russa, the hard nine, talking about winning, like just winning. Mm-hmm. You think back, Tony, Nick Saban, Belichick, who else? Name your other like legendary coaches. Bill Walsh.
Coaches, though.
They all had that. I mean, they kind of were a you-know-what, too. Yeah. And they got it done. Yeah. When when Tony retired, you started hiring guys. I respect Mike Matheny, but you started hiring guys that were inexperienced to they'll grow with the job. Mike Schultz, they'll grow with the job. He's been around for a while. He'll grow in it. Now, Ollie, you did lose a lot of that. We're trying to win a championship, not just let's talk about the process and the draft and developing. We're going to be smart and we're going to be economical. And you lost a lot of that blank you. I'm going to win. That's all I care about. And I think Cardinals fans are aching for that right now, and I don't blame them.
And I think personnel wise, they've missed the boat on players that think that way too.
That's a great point, Jamie.
If you look at the roster over the last handful of years, like how many players, not named Yachty or Molina, okay, but how many players have had that blank you, let's just win?
Right.
You've got a couple on your roster for sure. I'm not saying they don't have any, because they do. But overall, look how soft their roster has been over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. From outfielders to infielders to pitchers to bullpen arms, it's been a little bit soft. Yep. And I think that the Cardinals are trying to correct that, and I think one of the ways they're doing it is bringing in all these veterans who they think are not soft, or at least know what the clubhouse should look and feel like. Yeah. And I think that's why there's been an overcompensation.
No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. Great point. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. We're going to do NFL fill in the blank next in the Fastlane. Hey, now's the perfect time to head out to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum and check out a brand new Nissan Titan. How about a Nissan Pathfinder? We love the Nissan Pathfinder that we purchased from Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. It was a pre-owned vehicle, low miles, great shape. We got a great deal on it, and you're going to have the same experience. Maybe you're not looking for a Pathfinder. Maybe you're looking for a Rogue. Maybe you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle that's not a Nissan. They've got them at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. In fact, they have over 700 vehicles on the lot that you can test drive after you check them out at AutoCentersNissan.com. Go through it, see what you like, see what price points you're looking at. Then you can go in, you can work with the sales staff. They make it fun for you. They'll talk to you about the financing options, and they have financing for everyone. Good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. If you need a vehicle, they're going to find a way to finance the car and make you feel great about your monthly payment. That is one of the aspects that I think sets Auto Centers Nissan apart. Again, the one dealership, one location out in Herculaneum. Check them out. Tell them Stalter sent you. But start your search at AutoCentersNissan.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues win last night in Calgary by a final score of 4-3 thanks to Brandon Saad. The Blues will look to pick up another victory tonight in Vancouver as they take on the Canucks. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We'll talk with our Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, at 4:30. So stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues Canucks tonight right here on 101 ESPN. The NFC and AFC championship games are this weekend. We're going to dive into the NFL with our NFL fill in the blank coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Like Marsh just told you in the Sports Center update, time to play NFL Fill in the Blank with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here is Marshy Marsh.
All right, gentlemen. Blank has to establish the run on Sunday in order to win.
49ers. Ooh. 49ers. That's their whole offense. They don't establish a run. They fall behind. That offense isn't as effective. They can't run the football, which it's going to be difficult. Detroit is one of the top teams against the run. Then that Shanahan offense isn't as effective. So I think it's a 49ers.
I'm going to agree with that. I think that's important for them. They, if we don't know the status of Deebo Samuel just yet, if
he did not practice today.
If he, it's this Wednesday.
Doesn't surprise us, but
He's just tuckered out.
just updating you
Thank
guys.
you for that.
Stop yelling.
But yeah, I think that is the that is the team that needs to get the run established the most, because as you said, everything that they do is based off of the run. A lot of play action passes, getting the ball out of his hand quickly. They need to get Christian McCaffrey going, and you want to get him going because he's pretty damn good.
Never heard of him.
Yeah,
Never heard him?
I'm going to disagree with both of you guys.
Really?
I'm going to. Yeah, I know. You find it surprising, I know, guys, but I'm going to say the Chiefs. I really do, because if the Chiefs can't establish a running game, then it makes it way easier for the Ravens defense to focus on the passing game. And we know how that works. There's only one guy that can really catch the ball on that team. His name is Travis Kelce. The rest of them, who knows? Who knows? They might have their hands tied together trying to catch the ball when the Chiefs play next.
Jamie, they don't play that way. It just seems that way.
It's terrible. But that's why I think the Chiefs have to establish some kind of a running game. It doesn't have to be a great game. It just has to be some kind of a running game to get the Ravens to have to respect it enough to where they can run some plays that open up some of the receivers, in particular Travis Kelce. So for me, the Chiefs are the team that need to run the ball.
Blank will be the reason why blank loses on Sunday.
Ooh.
Guys, I'll go first.
Go ahead. Is this gonna hurt you when you say this?
It's going to hurt me so bad.
Go ahead.
I'm actually bleeding right now.
I know what he's
as
gonna
I
say.
sit here, and I'm ashamed of myself, and I feel like I should put myself in timeout
Don't
before I
say
even
it.
say it.
All right, go ahead, say it.
Old kneecaps, Dan Campbell.
That's not who I thought.
I knew that's who he was
I thought
going
he was
to
going to
say.
say Jared Goff.
That's what I thought. I thought you were going to go with Jared
I knew it was
Goff.
Dan Campbell.
No, I'm going to Dan Campbell.
He's
There's going to be a
afraid.
moment. Listen, there's going to be a moment in that game where he's going to Dan Campbell it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. No, listen, hear me out, you guys. I love the guy. I told you I want to drink 100 beers with him, and one day it will happen. And I just feel like he's all about this team and these guys and doing it for the guys, and I care about the team. And like, there's going to be a moment where the right decision eludes him because he's looking over and he sees a lineman that's like covered in blood, and he's like, I need to do it for this guy. This guy needs to. This guy needs 4th and 17 from our 7-yard line. He needs this.
Frank Ragnow, his legs are falling off. And he's out there.
Frank
He's out
Ragnow.
there.
Yeah.
He's over there in a wheelchair trying to block for the sweep, and Dan Campbell's going for it on 4th and 17 from the 7-yard
We
line.
barely stand up.
That's my pick, and it hurts me to death that I'm going to put myself in timeout.
All right.
I mean, it's got to be Brock Purdy, doesn't it? Is it if they are
low-hanging fruit, Carey.
unable? Well, I mean, if they're unable, is that who you were thinking? No.
No, I'll say Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is the disrespect that Jared Goff receives. He actually led a team to the Super Bowl. We tend to forget or not care. Brock Purdy has not. I mean, neither has Lamar
He only had
Jackson.
one arm, though,
He
Carey.
did only have one arm. He couldn't sling it left-handed, so we don't know.
It wasn't
We know-
me. It was the one-armed man.
We know he can't throw left-handed, but it has to be Brock Purdy. I think watching what Detroit does, I think they're going to get after him. And if they are unable to run the football, and we saw this last week versus a Packers team who is not as good as this Lions team that they're facing this weekend. If they're unable to run the ball, if Deebo Samuel is not able to play, if all of these things happen again and you have to lean on Brock Purdy to win you a game, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's Jared Goff. He didn't get the Rams to the Super Bowl. The refs did.
No!
Oh, my God.
They had a good season.
Anthony, that's spoken like a true bitter Falcons fan right there.
It had nothing to do with the Falcons. It was the Saints, in fact.
Still.
It's that AFC South love that he has.
Come on, man.
He's just frustrated.
All roads lead back to Home Depot.
It's Jared Goff. It's the answer.
Jared Goff led a team to the Super Bowl.
That doesn't mean he won't turn the ball over in the red zone.
Thank you.
And they lost.
Or face a bunch
10-3?
of pressure and then sit. Hold on. Timeout.
I mean, I didn't say he played well.
Your Honor.
13-3. I didn't say he played well in said
ain't
Super
that
Bowl.
yet.
Okay, we got prove me wrong
They
later.
went 13-3, Anthony.
Your Honor.
In the regular
get him,
season.
Carey.
Come on.
May I present to you
Come on.
Exhibit A
They
against
went
Carey Davis?
13-3.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? You're
Nah.
right about that.
Todd Gurley had 35 yards rushing in the Super Bowl. He was supposed to go off.
Just go
That
through
damn
the
Belichick
text
got in the way.
here. Where is it? Go ahead. You can go to the next one. Go ahead.
Their leading receiver was Brandon Cooks. Like, he's a swell guy.
Got it. Sunday, about 4:30. Carey Davis texted in the old group.
What did I
And I quote,
God.
Your Honor.
Oh, no.
Is this
Careful.
when Jared Goff starts to feel pressure? Now, why would you bring that up? Why would you bring that up?
It was situational, Anthony.
Exactly. I'm looking through this. You didn't say, is this when Patrick Mahomes feels the pressure?
I believe I did say something about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh.
You did. Jamie does not, based on the quarterback Netflix series, Jamie does not like Patrick
Really?
Mahomes.
I'm over him. I'm over him.
All right.
My favorite quarterback out of that series ended up being Kirk Cousins.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kirky.
He has all the little doohickeys on his little hat. Little wires.
Try that.
That sounds
Looks
like Kirk
fun.
Cousins. I don't know what you're talking about,
I don't
but that
either.
just sounds like Kirk Cousins.
You haven't seen it?
I didn't watch it either.
I watched a couple of minutes of one of the episodes.
see-
I
you
want to
guys
go
need to
back.
watch
It's
it.
perfect.
I didn't see it.
You will-
It's something that I would love. I know I would. I just haven't.
You will see why
He had doohickeys on his hat.
Fair enough.
He had little wires on his hat. He looked like, remember that children's
plugged
game?
in.
The children's game where you can take the blocks and you
Yeah.
you can put it usually
At the
like
doctor's
At the
offices.
doctor's office.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
his
yeah.
hat looked like. All those little like
Those are old
wires.
school. I like
Yeah.
that.
You remember
Exactly.
playing Dr. Anthony?
Absolutely, I do, Jamie. One of my favorite games of all time. Yours too.
Sure was.
All right, last one here, real quick. Blank will have an epic performance on Sunday in blank win.
I'm going to say
Jared
Lamar
Goff
Jackson.
going to have a great time.
Redemption for the Dan Campbell comments, Jamie.
Jared
Go
Goff.
ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Lamar.
He's gonna have
Lamar's going to have that moment. We have the Heisman moment. Lamar's going to have his
He already had that.
Super Bowl moment.
I think he had that. Well, not a Super Bowl moment, but his MVP moment. The 5 touchdown game.
No, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be the Super Bowl moment. I knew exactly what you're talking about, Marsh. He's showing us right now. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He had that on his hat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, he's an interesting guy. You're a weird guy, Ace.
You're a weird guy, Ace.
I agree with you. It's going to be Baltimore. It's going to be Lamar Jackson. It's going to be his opportunity to prove all of the doubters, all of the haters. He's done it in the regular season. Potentially 2-time MVP once the awards finally come out, and getting over the hump that is, Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs team. I think that'll be his moment. This will be his moment this weekend.
There you go. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. The Bucks did something yesterday by firing their head coach where it was like we were all shocked. After you kind of read what was going on in Milwaukee, I'm gonna pose this: should more teams do what Milwaukee did and move on quickly when it comes to a mistake? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey, and let me tell you about my good friends over at Scrap Mart Metals. If you're a contractor or own a business that needs recycling, you need to learn about Scrap Mart Metals. They are tailor-made for your business to meet your schedule and your budget. Job site cleanup for contractors can be a mess, and if you set up a business account with Scrap Mart, they will recycle the metal. It's one less thing for you to do at cleanup. If you own heavy equipment, you know how frustrating and often the repairs are when the time comes to scrap that. Scrap Mart Metal will literally come pick it up, get it out of your way. They'll haul your equipment to one of their locations and get you a check the very same day. Or if you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy, you want to haul it away yourself, they have 3 convenient locations: Valley Park, Peevely, and Jonesburg. If it's metal, they will buy it. They offer a convenient drive-on scale, and they have the highest payout. You will get top dollar for your scrap metals. Just go to scrapmartmetals.com and talk to my guy Lucas. He can get you set up with a business account and get you started and get you going. That's scrapmartmetals.com, and tell him Carey sent you.
off the show yesterday talking about something local. I think it was the Blues. Maybe it was the Cardinals yesterday. But I threw it out there because it was just so jarring. We don't talk about the NBA that much, but it was just so jarring that the Milwaukee Bucks, decided to fire Adrian Griffin with a 30-13 record. First year there, they got rid of their previous head coach who had won a title, and Mike Budenholzer. But
Budenholzer.
It was shocking. And then you read through some of the things that was going on in Milwaukee, and you're like, oh, this wasn't shocking at all. Their defensive system, apparently, that Griffin brought over from Toronto, didn't match what the Bucks had on the roster. Defensively, they rank like 22nd in efficiency, but 27th since Christmas Day when they lost to I think it was the Knicks. It's just been terrible. In-game stuff. Some small things like, hey, rebound the ball to the guy that can actually shoot free throws for when the other team fouls. He wasn't doing that. He was inbounding it to like Giannis, who's not their best free throw shooter. So just all of these things that if you read through, like, wow, this guy was a disaster. He's very inexperienced. They shouldn't have went with him. Apparently Giannis was the guy that wanted him. And now they've made the move and they're going to get with Doc Rivers. I think that if you're Milwaukee, yeah, there's some criticism for making this hire, moving on from a head coach that could not get you over the hump again, yet they realized they had a problem, and they fired him immediately or as quickly as they could so that they can correct said problem. I'm going to throw it to you guys. Jamie, you play for several different organizations in the NHL. Some good, some great, some not so good. Carey, you bounced around the league for a little bit. Obviously found a home in Pittsburgh where you won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Do you think that there are more teams that should act the way Milwaukee did and say, we screwed up, whether it's a player or a coach, we screwed up, let's move on right now, as opposed to we need to be right?
Yeah, so I'm torn on this one a little bit because a couple of reasons is, one, you had your best player and one of the best players in the league as one of the people who were supporting this guy to bring him in. And so it goes to show you as an organization, though, be careful what you give your star players, too. Yeah. Because you're just blindly agreeing to things because your star player is like, no, this is my guy. I want this guy. Okay, here you go, Giannis. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Now it's a big problem. Yeah. So, but I would have to dive deeper into all of the things that went on there. But I'm also a believer in, one, you still have a winning record right now. And two, like how can any young, inexperienced coach get experience if you don't let them work their way through some of the wrinkles? And, and did you really upgrade? Like, I like Doc Rivers. Like, don't get me wrong, he's got a great last name. But I look at his track record, and he's never been able to get his teams over the hump either.
Not for a while. So, the Celtics. We won with the Celtics. But you're right, Jamie. It's been a while. Recently,
yes. Okay, he's the guy that everybody kind of pokes fun at. Is I get you into the playoffs, but you won't win.
Yes.
And so I don't know. I don't know enough about either coach to really sit here and comment about specifics on X's and O's, and I don't even pretend to know the X's and O's of basketball. But apparently, if there hasn't been any public pushback from some of the star players, including Giannis, then they probably got it right.
Carey, out of the three of us, you watched the most NBA, so I'm interested in your thoughts. Just real quick to react off to what Jamie, you just said, though. You're like, hey, I don't really know basketball, whatever. But you mentioned two things that are important. They got rid of Budenholzer because there was some in-game stuff in the playoffs that they didn't like. Yeah. So they said, all right, we have to move forward here. This is the thing I was talking about with the Blues. Like, Craig Berube does 10 things well. He might not do 3 things well. Let's make sure we get the next guy in and bring in the guy that could do the 3. Yeah. Yet he can't do the 10. That's, I think, what the Bucks just did. They got rid of a guy that couldn't do, 1 or 2 things, brought in the guy that could do maybe 1 of the 2, and then completely overlooked the fact that Budenholzer could do, 10 things right as a head coach, and now they've course corrected again by bringing in Doc Rivers.
I think a great example of that in the NBA is the Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the NBA championship, the NBA Finals a few years ago, fired their head coach, and now they can't get over the hump now.
Right.
It's hard. I mean, Monty Williams, I thought, did a great job for the Suns, and then they moved on from him because sometimes you feel like the message gets stale. I think when you're watching the Bucks, they still are the number 2 seed in the East. They have Giannis. They got Dame over the in the offseason. Chris Middleton is healthy, playing again. But when you have a team that feels like this is not an offensive problem, they feel like the defense wasn't being played or done correctly. And to me, I think that's probably problematic. If offensive scheme, you got guys that can go get you a bucket in Dame and Giannis at any time, and Chris Middleton can make things happen. But defensively, if they're not all on one accord, you're going to give up a lot of points. And I guess they got to the point where they were tired of trying to correct it and him not being willing or understanding. Sometimes there is a lack of knowledge in coaches. I think people have this perception that, you coach in the NBA or you coach high Division I college football. You know everything. No, the hell they don't. There are coaches that have no clue as to what the hell is going on in certain aspects. And I'm not saying that that's what was going on with Adrian Griffin, but he probably and couldn't have understood it to the level that Giannis and Dame and all of those other guys were trying to get him to understand it. And eventually, the Bucks said, all right, we have to move on because if this is going to be a problem now, what in the world is it going to be come June when it's time to try to make a push for a world championship? We're going to lose a game because defensively we're not tied in. And so you make a decision and you go forward and you bring in Doc Rivers. Hopefully, again, you're the number 2 seed right now, so you're playing really well. I don't know how much better they're going to get, but I guess defensively they have higher expectations than where they are right now. And I was showing you a video. Jamie, there's a video. There's a tweet where a guy says, this is when I knew that they were going to move on from Adrian Griffin. Giannis is literally on the bench with a sheet of paper drawing up plays, not a whiteboard. He got a pen and a sheet of paper writing on a folder trying to get some plays together. And so
Drawing the court
so he can get people aligned properly. That's problematic. So, move on. If it's going to be something you need to do eventually, go ahead and get it done now and get the guy in there that has led a team to a championship in Doc Rivers, who's done it. He struggled here, getting out of making it out of the Western Conference Final, making it to the Western Conference Finals, but he will be better for them than Adrian Griffin was.
Hire the guy that understands what your roster needs, not what he wants to do. I think this is another example of that. He had certain guys in Toronto as an assistant that could play the defensive system that he wanted to bring to Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't have the same roster, but he's like, screw it, we'll do it. And they were giving up like 120 some points a game. So it didn't work out.
It was exciting, though, Anthony.
It was exciting because they needed to score 140. Fantasy basketball player's dream. All right, the Gauntlet is next on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking to save money right now on car or home insurance, Allstate and the Bib Agency have some of the most competitive rates. But that's not where the Bib Agency separates itself. The Bib Agency separates itself with unbelievable customer care and customer service. But tell you a quick story about my daughter. My oldest daughter got herself into a little bit of a fender bender, and I was on the air. I was doing radio, and she didn't know what to do. She was scared, didn't understand the process of everything. She picked up the phone and called Tracy Bibb at the Bibb Agency, and Tracy walked her through everything, made her feel comfortable, took care of her, and told her that she had the proper coverage and informed her on what the next steps were. It was amazing. The customer service was incredible, and you just don't get that with every insurance agent, and you certainly don't get that with a 1-800 number that you have to call and talk to somebody different every single time. So please take your insurance seriously for yourself, your loved ones, and give Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency a call for a free non-committal quote today. That number is 314-328-4260. Again, that's 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
402, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Time for a new Gauntlet contestant, and we welcome in Charles. What's up, Charles?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. First time in the Gauntlet?
First time in the Gauntlet, yeah.
All right, well, congratulations. You have the full team available to you. Would you like to take on Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, or me today?
Let's do Jamie.
All right,
Yeah.
Jamie Rivers.
All right, Charles.
Live
Sound
from
Donkey Kong now.
So Jamie's going to walk away from the camera here. He's going to
Yeah,
make
I
his
got my
own
phone
cone of
with
silence.
me here. I'm going to go to the room over there. I'm expecting room service at the same time, so I will be available via text. So you guys tell me when we're ready.
All right, sounds good. There you go.
Good luck, Charles.
Sounds good.
All right, so we'll give Jamie a chance to get into that cone of silence there. Charles, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel, Margie.
What category are you hoping for?
Really anything. I like to pretty much watch any sport that's available, so.
Well, Charles, I'm glad you didn't pick me. I'm tired of being in that cone of silence.
And that wheel has been spinning baseball a lot. What do we get, Marsh?
We indeed got baseball.
Wow. How many in a row now?
Maybe 3.
3 in a row?
Is it? I did, yeah, because I did baseball, I think 2 days in a row.
My word.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Charles, so obviously you're okay with baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baseball 2 days in a row.
Is it 2?
But out of the past, I want to say six gauntlets, baseball's been picked 4 times.
Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, Charles, 4 questions, all baseball, all worth 2 points unless you ask for the options. If you ask for the options, those questions become worth 1 point. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Here we go. Question 1. Yesterday, Rockies legend Todd Helton was among those elected to the 2024 Baseball Hall of Fame. Who ranks second behind Helton on Colorado's all-time games played list? Who ranks second behind Helton on the Rockies' all-time games played list?
Yeah, I'm going to need the options on that one.
No problem. Vinny Castilla, Larry Walker, Charlie Blackmon.
Oh. Ooh. Let's go Charlie Blackmon.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Charles. New Astros closer Josh Hader led the National League in saves during the pandemic-shortened 2020 season. For which team did Hader pitch that year?
That's the Brewers. Final answer.
Question number 3. The Cardinals' Bake McBride won the 1974 NL Rookie of the Year award. What position did this Missouri native play?
I'm gonna need the options.
Options are third base, outfield, or shortstop.
Let's go outfield. Final answer.
All right, Charles, question 4. On May 6, 1998, Carey Wood struck out 20 batters in his 5th career start for the Cubs. What opponent did Wood terrorize that afternoon at Wrigley Field?
Oh, man. I just watched this on, Plastic or something not that long ago. I feel like I need the options, please.
Sure. Houston Astros, Los Angeles Dodgers, or the New York Mets?
Let's go with the Mets. Final answer.
All right. I'm going to text Jamie right now. Come back, you.
It looks like he got his
The room service came in.
yeah.
So say hello.
Okay. Just texted Jamie.
Come on back, Jamie. Come on down.
Charles, how you feeling?
A little shaky. Yeah.
Okay.
Little shaky bakey.
How is it? How has it being on air?
It's obviously a lot harder on air. I did the what's the one in the morning again?
The fight.
The fight.
I did that once against Randy and got to a tiebreaker and was confused on the question and got it wrong. But
That's all right. All right. Jamie
it's
is
a lot of fun.
absolutely. Jamie's back from
I'm back.
the Cone of Silence. He got his room service. So,
I did. You guys see that?
what'd you order, Jamie?
Kept it good and clean today, Anthony. Grilled chicken, Caesar salad.
Good
Light
for
on the
you.
dressing.
Good for you. Nice job. He obviously wants to fit into a brand new Speedo in a couple of weeks. I know Jamie.
Don't you worry.
That's what he's trying to
It will
do.
be an unveiling.
Nice. All right, Jamie. Charles spun the wheel. The wheel
Okay.
spun baseball. Are you ready?
I love baseball.
Don't we all?
Here we go. Question number 1.
I'm ready. Bring it.
Yesterday, Rockies legend Todd Helton was among those elected to the 2024 Baseball Hall of Fame class, who ranks second behind Helton on Colorado's all-time games played list. Who ranks second for the Rockies on the all-time games played list behind Todd Helton?
Damn, I thought you were going to say, where did he play quarterback in college?
Oh, you'd have known
we were gonna
that.
get that one. Damn it, I was all over that one. Yeah, I have no idea, Anthony. How about the options, please?
Wasn't it Tennessee? Tennessee?
Tennessee. It was. He played ahead of Peyton Manning.
Oh, that's right. Nice. All right.
You're welcome.
Your options are, Jamie, Vinny Castilla, Larry Walker, or Charlie Blackmon.
I feel like Charlie Blackmon was a Rocky forever. I'm going to go with Charlie Blackmon. Final answer.
All right, Jamie. New Astros closer Josh Hader led the National League in saves during the pandemic-shortened 2020 season. For which team did Hader pitch that year?
Had to be the Brewers, right? Pandemic. Yeah. Milwaukee Brewers. Final answer.
Question number 3. The Cardinals' Bake McBride won the 1974 NL Rookie of the Year award. What position did this Missouri native play?
Oh, Bridezilla. Yeah, he was awesome. Let's see here. How about options, please?
Options are third base, outfield, shortstop.
Oh, so he's Tommy Edman. All right. What was this guy's name? Chucky McBride?
Bake McBride.
Bake McBride. All right, what were my options again? I didn't write them down.
Third base,
Yeah.
outfield, or shortstop, also known as shortstop.
Shortstop. All right. I haven't heard old Shaky Bakey's name here at third base or any name at all for that or shortstop. You think over the course of time I've heard something about that in particular, because we hear about all the other old Cardinals that were great in those positions, although maybe he wasn't great. I don't know. I'll go with outfield. Final answer, please.
All right, Jamie, question 4. On May 6, 1998, Carey Wood struck out 20 batters in his 5th career start for the Cubs. What opponent did Wood terrorize that afternoon at Wrigley Field?
I remember that game too, but the opponent, really? Options, please.
The Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers, or the New York Mets?
I feel like it was the New York Mets. I'll go New York Mets. Final answer.
All right. Let's go over these. Jamie versus Charles.
Let's do it.
Question 1. Yesterday, Rockies legend Todd Helton was among those elected to the 2024 Baseball Hall of Fame class, who ranks second behind Helton on Colorado's all-time games played list. You guys both asked for the options. You both said Charlie Blackmon. Correct answer is
Charlie Blackmon.
1,500 and counting. Nice job, guys. We have
Still
a
there.
1-1 tie.
Got a great mane.
Yeah.
Beard.
The Cardinals' Bake McBride, otherwise known as Chucky McBride to Jamie, won the 1974 NL Rookie of the Year award. What position did the Missouri native play? Charles, you said outfield. Jamie, you said outfield. Correct answer is...
It is the outfield, gentlemen.
Nice job, guys. We got a 2-2 tie. On May 6, 1998, Carey Wood struck out 20 batters in his 5th career start for the Cubs. What opponent did Wood terrorize that afternoon at Wrigley Field? Jamie, you said the Mets. Charles, you said the Mets. Correct answer is...
Oh, my God.
It is the Houston
Astros.
Houston Astros was the correct answer. So we remain 2-2. It comes down to this. New Astros closer Josh Hader led the National League in saves during the pandemic-shortened 2020 season. For which team did Hader pitch that year? Jamie, you said the Milwaukee Brewers. Charles, you said the Milwaukee Brewers. Correct answer is...
The Milwaukee Brewers.
But neither of you needed the options.
Walk it off.
Son of a batch of biscuits.
You guys had the same answers,
Every
same
answer.
options, all of that. Nice job.
Good job, Charles.
We have a 4-4 tie. I mean, the same answers right down the list there.
Beautiful.
Right down straight, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Charles, this is your redemption, possibly. You're going to hold off. Jamie is going to write down his answer. He's going to show the camera what his answer is so that we can see it. And then Charles...
Let me get this set up here.
Yeah, no problem. And then, Charles, as soon as we ask you what your answer is, you got to tell us, all right? Honor code here. Closest to the pin wins. Jamie, let me know when you're ready.
All right. Yeah, I got a piece of paper now. I'm ready.
All right, he looks like Giannis, doesn't he? Drawing up plays.
Drawing up his plays.
All right, here we go, guys. Charles, Jamie.
All right.
Charles, again, you hold off. Ricky Henderson owns more career stolen bases than anyone else in Major League Baseball history. How many swipes did Henderson record over his 25-year career? How many stolen bases did Ricky Henderson have in his career? Charles, you're waiting. Jamie is writing. Jamie has his answer, and
I can't see
we
that.
can't see
Back
that.
up a little bit,
Back
Jamie.
up, Jamie.
A little bit more.
I
see the coffee stain.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, we got it now. Okay, Charles, what's your answer?
1,400.
Okay. We don't need the calculator on this
I
one.
think so.
And one of us in this room will be vindicated to some small degree. Ricky Henderson owns more career stolen bases than anyone else in Major League Baseball history. How many swipes did Henderson record over his 25-year career? Charles said 1,400. Jamie, you wrote down...
3,462.
That's correct. Carey Davis, how many career stolen bases did Ricky Henderson have?
1,406.
There you go. Charles.
You have chosen wisely.
All of a sudden, my Yamir Yager 3,000 games played looks a little better. Nice job, Charles.
Oh, man.
I mean, close to the pin, you almost drained it. Nice work there, guy. Charles, you'll be back tomorrow to take on either Carey, Marsh, or me. Congrats, brother.
Good job, Charles.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
thank you.
Jamie got Ricky playing 75 years.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, guys! Did you say in his Major League Baseball career?
We did not.
No, we did.
Did he?
yeah.
He's
still
right
going,
there,
man.
Right there in the
Yeah,
fine
he's
print.
still
MLB
playing
history.
senior.
MLB history.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did. Nah.
Yep. All right, that was good. That was close.
No, it wasn't.
Hey, Jamie, I've been there. You know, your mind gets working, and all of a sudden the hamster falls off the wheel. You got to write down something, so you.
I'm staring
You
over a
overestimate.
salad.
Wall
Yeah, you're hungry. No, we get it.
It's always
Walrus
nice.
King from the Snake Pit. When Jamie put his answer, he said, "Yikes!"
He was honestly, Jamie was closer with the coffee stain.
He was. With a 0, right?
Shut up. Just shut up.
Congratulations, Jamie, another member of the 3,000 Club.
There we go.
First ballot.
Oh man!
All right. Rhys Hoskins just signed a deal with the Brewers. How concerned are we about that? We also have Jeremy Rutherford coming up at the bottom of the hour, so we'll talk spend a little time talking about the Brewers making a move. That's next on 101 ESPN. One of the things that I love about the Missouri Athletic Club is they have so many different options available. So whatever you're into, they've got it. For example, if you want to go use just their fitness center, you can. And it's not just a fitness center in that they've got obviously all the free weights and machines and all that, but they also have different classes that you can take if you want to sign up for personal training. Paul is fantastic. The West Clubhouse, Courtney downtown is outstanding. You get personal training. If I want to get personal training, fantastic. I get that. They've got a business center. If you go down there and just want to work, they've got that covered. They have different events, like the Blues just did their Hall of Fame nights at the downtown clubhouse. They've got various clubs within the club that you can participate in if you want to do, whether it's a whiskey club or, I'm sure they get like a history club. If you want to do that public speaking, I saw one of those. They've got various, clubs that you can kind of self-improvement on. It's fantastic. It's Miami C. It's Missouri Athletic Club. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Rhys Hoskins found a new home, and unfortunately for the Cardinals, that new home is in Milwaukee. Rhys Hoskins, as you may remember, he did not play last year for the Phillies because he was injured in spring training, missed the entire year. But the Brewers signed him to a 2-year, $34 million contract. It includes an opt-out after the first year, and Hopkins figures to start at first base for the time being, shifting Jake Bauers to a DH role. This is a Brewers-type signing. This is a Brewers-type move where they bring in somebody whose value's down, but can provide you big-time value elsewhere, right? Or in an upcoming season. They make moves like this, I feel like, consistently. You can make moves like this consistently when you have a pretty much open-end roster. The Cardinals weren't going to sign Rhys Hoskins. Where was he going to play? But if you're the Brewers and you have most of your positions flexible, bringing in Hoskins makes a lot of sense. I don't know if this ultimately changes things, though, as we look at the NL Central. The division overall is still dog poop. Carey, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like how you took that shot there. Rhys Hoskins getting hurt last year, I thought that the Phillies were going to really struggle because of it. But him not playing and now the Brewers are signing him, it feels like maybe the Central Division is starting to, figure some things out and pick up, because that was one of the not complaints, but one of the questions that we had. The Cardinals at one point were the only team really making any moves, and now you had the Cubs signing, then now you have Rhys Hoskins signing. I don't know how much it helps or it really impacts the Cardinals. I know it's a bet. He's going to hit you 30, 35 home runs a year, because that's what he's shown throughout his entire career. But, it's a good signing for the Brewers, but I don't think it should be anything that the Cardinals should be really concerned about. It's one more player that they have. They had a great team last year, but the Cardinals hopefully have added enough to where that won't play a huge factor in what goes on in the Central Division, Anthony.
If you're looking at this signing, guys,
come on.
Are you, if the Cardinals made this signing, would you be happy?
Yeah, probably.
Where is he going to play?
I'm just trying to figure it out.
The Cardinals don't need him.
Okay, how do I put this? I would have taken him over Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, but where's he going to play?
You've got a point.
Where's Matt Carpenter going to play?
He's not. He's there for locker room, clubhouse.
At least you improved your roster.
Oh, okay.
Well, guys, first of all, Matt Carpenter is at the Holiday compound right now training with Jackson Holiday and Matt Holiday. So who knows? And by the way, did you guys see that setup that Jackson Holiday has going on?
Yes. Marsh showed me the other day.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Is
it amazing?
He's got an apartment built on
like farmland.
Yeah, and a batting cage, and it's just
pickleball court,
like
whole baseball stadium. Yeah.
But no, so my point, guys, regarding Rhys Hoskins is, he was injured all of last year. There's nothing that says he's going to be the player that he once was. And now, what was it, 30-some million for 2 years?
$34 million for 2 years, but he can opt out after the first. So it's kind of
but if he sucks, he's not opting out.
No,
correct?
No. If he's great, then he is.
Correct.
Okay, but fine, right? So, but if you're the Cardinals, would you sacrifice $34 million on a guy and then if he doesn't do well, you're stuck with them for another year?
They wouldn't. This, like I said, this wouldn't have been a Cardinals type move. But you asking me, would I be excited at a signing like this? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, but I don't. Again, this is not a signing that the Cardinals needed, unless you were telling me that they were going to move on from Paul Goldschmidt. Now, if they made this decision next year and Paul Goldschmidt was on his way out the door, then yeah. But right now, where does he doesn't fit for the Cardinals? And this is, I know what you're saying, but you would be excited because it's something.
I'd be excited because Hoskins can hit.
Do they need hitters or pitchers, Anthony?
They need pitchers, but
then why do we?
Again, they just signed a guy. They just signed a guy.
Who?
Matt Carpenter.
Who? Oh my God, Anthony, you don't have to move on.
Okay,
you have to move on.
You're asking me
he's a bench coach.
I just set up this whole I just set up this whole segment by saying this wouldn't be a Cardinals edition, and then Jamie, you asked me a very point blank question: if the Cardinals signed him, would I be excited? Yeah, he had a 122 WRC plus 2 years ago, 127 WRC plus 3 years ago, 139 WRC plus. This guy's a stud. Yes, I would have been excited.
That's too many
Where's-
statistics.
Where's he going to play? I don't know.
Too many
He
numbers.
was a stud.
I think he's still going to be a stud.
How many games he played last year?
He didn't play any. He didn't play any last year. He tore his ACL, right? It was a torn ACL.
Torn
He tried to
ACL.
catch a fly ball.
I don't
It was
need him
spring
to
training.
run between the tackles. I need him to hit the ball to the yard.
Yeah. But
He
Anthony,
can
an
jog around the
ACL,
bases.
I don't even care about that. An ACL is going to impact his batting swing, his plant leg, his push leg, all of that stuff. Like, it's going to impact him.
Mm-hmm.
And how much? You know, I don't know. Maybe he comes in and maybe he's Babe Ruth. Yeah, okay, great, fine. But we've got Matt Carpenter.
Okay. This dude's
Doing
going
my
to be
Anthony thing there.
This dude's going to be Cody Bellinger this season.
He might be.
You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll
It's in
all
play.
see.
He might be.
All right, Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us next. We'll talk about the Blues' outstanding win last night, and they got to lace them up again tonight against Vancouver. Our Blues insider JR next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, fellas, it's Carey, and if you're a man that has been suffering with the inability to use the restroom, maybe you're waking up multiple times at night trying to go but can't quite go, straining while urinating, maybe you're having a feeling of your bladder being full even though you're trying to empty it. Well, if this is you could be suffering from BPH or an enlarged prostate. It's a common condition for men 60 years or older, but don't need to worry. My friends at the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy have the solution. Dr. Akinwande has put together a procedure that is minimally invasive. It has lower risk of complications, no hospital stay, no sutures, scarring, or general anesthesia, and it has relief from those uncomfortable symptoms that I mentioned above. It also will allow you to resume your normal activities, typically within a couple of days, all while feeling better and feeling relieved. After the procedure, most men begin to notice a difference within a month or two, and the best part about it, it's covered by most insurances, so stop waiting and get going. Reach out to mintstl.com today to schedule your appointment. That's MINTSTL.com, and tell them Carey sent you.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex, the Blues won last night in Calgary by a final score of 4-3. Thanks to Brandon Saad, a late period goal. The Blues complete the comeback over the Flames. They'll be back in action tonight, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We're going to dive into last night's game as well as tonight's matchup with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. JR coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
News, notes, and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in our guy, Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic. He's our Blues insider with said Athletic. What's up, JR?
What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
Well, we're great after last night. That was a hell of a win for the Blues as they come back. Braden Shen kind of turned the tides there with that shorthanded goal. But as Jamie said, a lot to unpack last night. What was your biggest takeaway after you watched that?
Well, the biggest thing, and I agree with what Jamie said earlier, is that it was just like two different games. Like the first 8 or 9 minutes, the Blues were just in total control, and it was like, they're going to win this thing 3-0, 4-1. And then for a long stretch there, it's like, okay, Calgary's going to win this thing 4-0. I felt like Calgary must have got the start of the game time wrong or something. Like it was going to be like 8:15 or something, and they finally took over. And then the other thing that really stuck out is just the defensive zone play by the Blues, just turnover after turnover after turnover. But, hey, listen, everybody wants to know about the coaching and how Drew Bannister's doing, and does he have the ear of this team? And he had that talk with them in the second intermission where he had to give the edited version during his post-game comments, and it sounds like the team woke up. So for whatever reason, they had to be in that situation to be woken up, but give them some credit for pulling that one out.
Yeah, some serious adjustments made between the second and third. But one player I want to highlight here that doesn't usually get a lot of notoriety was Nick Leddy last night, JR. Like watching him play, he's always a smooth skater and he's a good puck distributor, but he had a dominant game last night. He ended up with 3 helpers, +3, almost 25 minutes of ice time. What are you seeing from Nick Leddy recently that maybe we didn't see last year?
Yeah, well, he's always been a good skater. We know that. And we saw in that series a couple years ago, I think it was Minnesota, what he was able to do with Parayko against Kaprizov, that he's capable of defending the top players in the league. A lot of people say he's not a top pair guy. And, there are admittedly some nights where, he makes some mistakes and you kind of question, the Blues playing him in the top pair. But you're right. I think by and large, for the most part, this year he's been pretty good, especially lately. +3 last night, 3 helpers, 24 minutes of ice time. And, I don't want to say you didn't notice him because you did. He made some good plays. But I just think the poise that he has, you always look for a good partner to go with Colton Parayko and the Blues since Jay Bouwmeester have moved through a slew of them. And Nick Leddy, like we saw last night, has been a good one. So I really like his game. I'm glad you brought his name up because he was kind of an unsung hero last night.
JR, we were talking about Marco Scandella, and Jamie mentioned that he had missed the 3 losses. He was a coach's decision to sit, but played in the last couple of games. What have you seen from him, and what does he bring to this team defensively?
Yeah, he's really brought it since he's been back in the lineup, and at this point, I don't see how you take him out now. I know they wanted to give Scott Perunovich some ice time and a little runway, and I think early on he did a lot with it. I think, Drew Bannister said himself the other night, Perunovich, just not playing physical enough here lately. And also the penalty kill. I know they score shorthanded whenever they want to, but, when they are on the penalty kill and they aren't on the offensive zone with the penalty kill, they got to kill penalties, and they hadn't been doing that. So Scandella gets in there last night, helps them. But I really liked his game. And you guys, I'm not necessarily for the Athletic in terms of writing a big whole article on Scandella, but I'm writing a little blurb for him in the Athletic. And, what are they going to do with him? Because they want to remain competitive during this retool. He's a guy who can keep you competitive, but is there going to be attention around the league come trade deadline for Marco Scandella? And what do you do if you're the Blues? I mean, is this a guy you move for a middle-round draft pick, or is he a guy who potentially you could sign and keep a part of this thing for a couple years?
Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider, joins us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. You had made that crack, JR, about the Blues scoring a shorthanded goal anytime they won. I know that was your latest piece in the Athletic. You broke down each goal, each shorthanded goal. What did you learn from the lesson? Or the exercise?
Funny. Yeah, Anthony, it's funny, as a couple weeks ago I said, gosh, the shorthanded goal, what could I do with this? And I decided I'd clip a video of each of the shorthanded goals, and I'll go up to the guy in the locker room. So that's what I did the past couple weeks. And I just said, hey, tell me about your shorthanded goal this year. And I couldn't believe that they could just remember vivid detail. And, I know Jamie, and you talk to a lot of hockey players, they can do that. It's like they got like a photographic memory when it comes to certain plays. And shorthanded goals are pretty rare. So a lot of the guys remembered exactly what happened. So I put that together. But here's the thing. I was out of town a couple nights ago when Parayko scored his shorthanded goal. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to run this piece sometime. And then you go into last night's game, and then Braden Shen gets the breakaway and converts. It's like, okay, 2-3 weeks of work. We got all the video. Let's add the Shen shorthanded goal to this and pump this article out. So hopefully it gave some insight to what these guys are thinking when they are on the short man.
Jared, when you're watching the Blues, in particular, probably over the last 5, 6, 7 games, how important has Jordan Binnington been to this team's success? Because I just watched this guy, and he is just dialed in. I know he gave up 3 goals last night, and the third goal, he'd probably like that one back. There's no doubt about it. But how many games would you not even be a part of without him?
Yeah, Riv, he's been phenomenal. I just looked up some Jordan Binnington stats. I know we've talked about these in the past couple of weeks, but right now he's about 8 saves above expected, which is one of the go-to goalie stats. I know people sometimes get turned off by the analytics, but I think last year he was -4, -5, and right now he's close to +8 on the saves above expected. He's been terrific. I've been saying this for 2 years. If you're an outsider, you look at the save percentage and you just say, whatever happened to Jordan Binnington? But if you're here in St. Louis, you watch him. He's saving the bacon most nights for the team. He easily could have been their NHL All-Star if it weren't for Robert Thomas, and I think he's given him a chance. So, we were talking about Scandella a minute ago, and I know he's a UFA this summer. Jordan Binnington's obviously got a few years term left on his deal. But, that said, people have been asking the question, do you trade him? Like, if you're going into a deeper retool, rebuild here, what do you do? And, to me, that would be a clear sign that it's a rebuild, because Jordan Binnington is definitely keeping you competitive for the next few years.
JR, the Blues taking on the Canucks tonight. They are winners of 8 of their last 10. One of those losses against the Blues. What do they need to do tonight, the Blues, to get this W?
Well, not play like they did early on in the season when they went from Calgary to Vancouver, right? I think that was like game 7 of the year, and I remember saying, how many games do you have to watch your team to know what you got? And I think the number 7, because I thought once we saw that performance in Vancouver that it was going to be a tough year. But that was a lot of travel. That was a difficult situation for the Blues back early in the season. It's a tough team to keep up with, Carey. They've got a ton of talent, speed. The goalie, Demko's been doing a great job this year. And, I was on Vancouver radio, I think, yesterday, and they pointed out that since the Canucks lost in St. Louis, they've been on quite a roll. So, it's going to be a tough assignment, especially back-to-back. You got to hope, you got to believe, if you're in that Blues locker room, that you can feed off of what happened last night. And we all know what the standings are. We all know what the schedule is these next few games before the All-Star break. And to win that game in regulation last night and keep Calgary from getting a point, that's what you need in these last few games. So tough assignment tonight, but they showed just a few weeks ago that they can beat this team.
JR, one last guy I want to talk to you about, and Brandon Saad and Braden Shen had themselves really good games yesterday, but it doesn't happen without a young guy named Jake Neighbors as well. When you watch Jake Neighbors this year, I think we all had positive vibes about he could be a good player, but did you expect him to be this able to play with the pace that he's playing at right now and contribute offensively as much as he has?
Not to this level. And you guys know me. We've been doing these hits every week for years. I don't often, try to give myself credit, anything like that. But, I really believed in Jake Neighbors. Like, I just believe in young players who come up with the smarts and the intelligence and putting other players in good positions to succeed. And also, Riv, like when you walk out to Centene and you go in the Blues locker room and you talk to Jake Neighbors, like he just gets it. Like he understands every aspect of what he needs to be doing. And, you can see that translate on the ice. So I was a bit surprised when he was playing fourth line to start the year. I get it. Blay put up some offensive numbers last year. They had him on the third line. But I just figured it'd be a matter of time before he got a shot, and he did, and he's run with it. So, some of the skill does surprise me a little bit. Some of the numbers, some of the players he's able to play with, yeah, it's a little bit surprising. But I've got all the faith in Jake Neighbors that he's going to be a 15-year player in this league, and I think he's definitely going to be a middle six player that's going to get some time on top lines throughout his career.
Jared, great stuff as always. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to more great work at The Athletic, too. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. At JP Rutherford is where you can follow Jeremy Rutherford on Twitter. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Let's do our Sports Six-Pack next. So if you want to text in a Sports Six-Pack question, 314-399-9646. We'll do that here in the Fastlane.
Swiss Air Heating and Cooling, the Sweet 16 deal is back. SwissAirSTL.com.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct at Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues, and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
If you're hungry for stacks of made-from-scratch Hardee's Sausage or Egg Biscuits for breakfast, don't wait till Rise and Shine Day, February 9th. Your group can bulk pre-order now through February 8th by going only to heatupstlouis.org before noon each day. The next morning, the biscuits will be waiting at your participating Hardee's. Fill out the registration form only at heatupstlouis.org for 20 or more biscuits. They're only $1 each. The dough raised helps Illinois and Missouri neighbors with utilities. Have a heart, heat a home. Tomorrow at heatupstlouis.org.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh with your questions.
Question number 1.
All right, guys, from the 217, Salt Lake City got a visit from the NHL and is being considered as a temporary home for the A's. Have you guys visited the 4,000-plus foot elevation, 3.2% alcohol Beer City?
Ooh, I have not. You guys?
I've been to Salt Lake.
I feel like
they used to have a team in the minors. And they called them the Utah Grizzlies back then. They're located in Salt Lake. It's a fun city. I had a good time. It was beautiful. It was nice. I mean, it was good.
You feel the elevation? Evolution? Did you feel the evolution of the elevation when you were out there, Jamie?
Did I feel the elevation?
Yeah.
No, not really.
All right.
Didn't feel anything.
Look, I don't know.
What about the 3.2% beer that the texter alluded to?
The amount of beer I probably consumed while I was there, I'm sure I felt it. That's for sure. Didn't keep track of each and every single beer.
But you do in Nashville, though. You got to keep track of those.
Well, you got it because you can take out a second mortgage on your home to get a bucket of beers in Nashville. My gosh.
Question number 2.
All right, from the 314. Jamie, I've been trying to give Kevin Hayes a fair chance, but I've been extremely disappointed so far. He's slow and seems to fumble the puck a lot when trying to make a play. What is your view on him so far, and should we expect him to be moved at the deadline? That is from Alex.
Well, one, I don't think you'll see him moved at the deadline. You got him at a pretty fair price right now. And I don't know, maybe my question back to the texter would be, what did you expect? Because I expected Kevin Hayes to come in and be a 20-goal scorer, 40, 50-point guy. And, not that he's projecting to be a 40 or 50-point guy right now, but he's certainly projecting to be a 20-goal scorer. So, to me, he was a depth player. If we want to use the Cardinals as a reference point, he helps your locker room. He was brought in. Part of what you brought in Kevin Hayes for was leadership and to help fix some of your culture that you had or that you felt you'd lost since losing a whole bunch of guys, namely, Ryan O'Reilly and Alex Pietrangelo and Alex Steen. Like, it feels like this organization has tried to recover from each and every one of those guys, leaving the organization. Kevin Hayes is really good on faceoffs. He's really good at protecting the puck in the offensive zone. He keeps plays alive. He's got a very underrated wrist shot. You watch him shoot that puck, that thing comes sizzling off the blade. So I think that Kevin Hayes, could he be producing a little bit more? Yes, certainly he could be. But is it so far off that we're looking to be like, hey, we need to move on from this guy? I mean, I guess if the deal is right, but that applies to any player. Like, if the deal is right, you move on from the player. In this case right now, I don't know if the juice would be worth the squeeze. I don't know if what you would acquire would be able to replace the 20 goals or so, or the 35 or 40 points that Kevin Hayes is going to get. And got to remember, you're getting him for, $3 million right now, because the Flyers are on the hook for the other half.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 3.
From the 618, what do the Chiefs, especially defensively, have to do in order to win on Sunday?
Not let Lamar go crazy. I mean, it's that simple. He does so much in the pocket, out of the pocket. I can't say limit their running game because, he is essentially, he was last game, their running game. If Mark Andrews is back, which you said he practiced today, looks like he may be headed that way to being able to play. What they do offensively is going to be hard to defend because he brings an extra element to the game. When you have a quarterback that is not a stand in the pocket quarterback, that does not just drop back 5 step and sit there and wait for his routes to develop, that's stressful. And you can say, we're going to spy on him with Willie Gay. Yeah, when the hell do you think Willie Gay is going to be able to keep up with Lamar Jackson? It doesn't matter. Nick Bolton, he can run. No one cares. Spying a quarterback sounds ideal, but at the end of the day, that linebacker is not athletic as that quarterback. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to spy.
Plus, you take him out of every other play.
Then you're taking him out of coverage. So it just brings an extra element that defenses, that these are the players that coordinators stay up at night stressing about. This is why coordinators sleep at the office when they have to play guys like Lamar Jackson. So, I don't know what. I guess the best way would be to get after him, when he is dropping back, to put pressure on him, stay in his face, make him uncomfortable. But if he breaks outside the containment, if you decide to be selfish and greedy and not, keep him inside the pocket, it's going to be a long day for you.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, if I'm Spags, I can't play man to man unless it's down near the goal line, because as soon as my corners turn their backs to cover receivers, you do not have every single defender being able to watch Lamar. So that's one. You can't play any man-to-man. You virtually got to go zone. If you get close to the goal line where things shrink up, then you can go to more man-to-man. But you're still opening yourselves up for him running. I think you keep him in the pocket. You rush 4, but they have to be really, really disciplined. The ends can't allow him to get outside. The D tackles can't allow him to have lanes. Push the pocket, force him to play quarterback, and live and die by his arm. And he's got a great arm.
He does.
He to me had a better arm. He's always had a good arm.
Yeah.
He has developed into a more accurate quarterback. He has come leaps and bounds under Todd Monken in terms of getting the ball out on time. But I would still force him to play QB and not worry about him killing me with my arm or with his arm and his legs. So forget the man-to-man, play zone, push the pocket, keep it in front of you, force him to make really tight throws and tight windows, and hold on for dear life.
Question number 4.
From the 636, was Mike Keenan aware that players did not like him? I would imagine Brett Hull would have made it known.
Oh, he was aware. That's the sick part about Mike, is he liked it. He did. It was like a damn badge of honor. The more guys that could hate his guts, the better it was. And I don't know. He just didn't quite get it. He thought that it was some kind of a positive thing, that if he could make everybody feel like crap and everybody, hated him in different ways, that he could bring out the best in everybody.
He's uniting guys in the great way.
But Carey, he wouldn't, right? Because then what would happen is he would use other guys. He would pit guys against each other in the middle of this thing, to where he would say that, player so-and-so, well, no wonder he doesn't want to play on your line, and then you're like, well, what the hell? Now he's outing guys. So now he loved to create animosity and chaos in everywhere. If you talk to anybody who even worked for the Blues back during the Mike Keenan era, from the security guards to the ticket people to the promotional people, anybody at all, he made everybody feel uncomfortable. He said things he shouldn't say. I don't mean inappropriate things. Yeah. He was just mean. He wasn't a very nice person to a lot of people. That's all.
Question number 5.
From the 636, if you were a quarterback entering into the NFL draft this season, which team would you hope selects you to be their new rookie starting quarterback?
I was looking at this.
Well, the 49ers, for me, would be the team.
Yeah.
We didn't
nice.
say it had to be a team that was
In need of a quarterback.
Yeah, just if I was picking.
Tampa Bay would be a good place.
Yeah, they're losing a lot, Carey.
The Jets would be a good place. You would have to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year.
No,
Guys, have you seen the amount of players that are leaving Tampa Bay that are unrestricted?
Yeah. They
It
should.
is
They got to resign
nuts.
Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield Jr.
I think they've screwed that up because Mike Evans said before the season started, he's like, listen, I want to be a Buccaneer for life.
Yeah.
It's up to the organization now, to offer me a deal, whatever. And then that was it. They said they weren't offering him a deal. I think he is long gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Should have taken the timeout. What? Maybe their season would still be happening.
Marcia still takes about that timeout.
I don't think it matters.
Jamie hasn't got a chance to talk about it.
I don't
Yeah,
think it
thank
matters.
you, Andrew. Andrew, you'll be my voice to help me through this, okay? But I've seen it posted in lots of places, and I get it. The game was quote unquote over at that point. But what do you like? If I'm a head coach, or if I'm in a fight, it ain't over till I can't move anymore.
Yeah.
It's not over till I'm out cold. It's not over till I'm dead. And so I would have burned the timeout. I would have forced the other team to get that first down. Because you would have been able to, with one timeout, you would have forced that other team to get the first down. You could have potentially got the ball back. I know you'd had to go 90 yards maybe without a timeout, but I'm willing to take that chance. Who cares? What do you get to lose? I know Baker just threw one up the guts and got picked off, and boo-hoo-hoo, and our morale was down. Screw that. Call the damn timeout.
The only way that it would have happened or worked is if they called the timeout on third down, which they could have. They could have called the timeout on third down. If they called it on first down, the game is over. But if they called it on third down when there was still time left, because after third down, now it's fourth down and there are 30-plus seconds left on the clock. So that part, but I think there was just a gentleman understanding that Todd
understanding of
Bowles
rolling over and just taking it.
didn't call the timeout after the first down.
Oh, the NFL's rigged.
Yeah, maybe.
It wasn't part of the script.
That's what they say. They didn't write that in there. They just said
Come on,
the game's
Carey.
going to end.
Hey, Carey, now it's time to talk about it.
You could see Todd Bowles on his face. He was like,
you got the script.
I don't have this script.
You got the script ahead of your
The script
Super Bowl.
says just end it. Oh, man. Yeah, the script had Hines Ward going down with a knee injury in the AFC Championship game and then just
What a team
trotting
player.
out there for the Super Bowl when we were unsure. We were uncertain. It said we were supposed to be uncertain on the paper.
Man, you're a great actor, Carey.
Wow, Carey. Really peeling back the curtain here.
Hines is going to play. I don't know.
Hey, you see that, guys? He doesn't know.
All right, it's Fastline on 101 ESPN. That was your Sports Six-Pack. Let's get back into the Blues. So last night, excellent victory. They lose tonight, though. Does it just erase that victory?
Stop.
Yes, it does. That's next on 101 ESPN.
If you've been watching the NFL playoffs from the sidelines, there's still time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet this Sunday's conference championship games with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet, gentlemen.
Yeah, and guys, FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up the W. So if you want to follow our picks, just go to FanDuel right now to get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet, Anthony. Guaranteed.
What do you like, Carey?
I told you, I like the Ravens.
Laying the 3.5.
Give it to me.
Don't care.
Yep. And, Jamie, you'll like this. I actually like the Lions on the road.
That's my guy.
Plus the 7.
Give it to me.
All right, there you go. You got Carey's picks. Jamie, I think, is in agreement. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to join today. Again, that's FanDuel.com/fast to join today, and you can make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, thanks for having me on. Enjoyed it. And, let's go Canucks tonight.
Yeah, against your old team.
Old team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Talk a call.
Okay. Map out a game plan for him.
Boy, I don't know how I feel about that, Carey.
Hey, all is fair when you get fired. It happens. The hell do you?
I don't like it.
Hey, what, are you supposed to just?
I don't like
keep
it.
Just supposed to wear the St. Louis blue around everywhere, even though those guys said he was no longer welcome in the facility?
No, of course
not. Is he supposed to root for? I mean, you root for your guys, but I mean, at the end of the day,
some of the guys.
Not all of them.
Jamie, I don't know if you heard the audio, but Marsh fired up again. This is from Donnie and Dally, the team radio show that Craig Berube was on earlier today. Go ahead.
Guys, thanks for having me on. Enjoyed it. And, let's go Canucks tonight.
Yeah, against your old team.
Old team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Talk a call.
Okay. Map out a game plan for him.
Well, that hurts.
I think it's fun.
Does it?
Does it? Yeah, you kind of get it.
The hell with those guys.
Well,
kind of get it.
To give more context and backstory to this, too, Rick Tocchet, who's the head coach for the Vancouver Canucks, is Craig Berube's best friend. They were teammates for a long period of time. They're buddies away from the rink. They talk to each other almost every single day. They talk about coaching strategies, different teams, different ideas, all this. Like, they're bros. So, I mean, I think Chief was having a little bit of fun.
Sure.
They're tongue-in-cheek at the same time, supporting his buddy Rick Tocchet.
I just miss Chief.
I do too.
Any of that, the way he says, "Thanks, guys, I enjoyed it." He used to say that to us, Jamie.
He did. Although he never did cash in on his promise to take us to the Hive for dinner.
No, but he will.
He will. At some point. I'm going to call him on that next time I see him.
He's a man.
Hey,
he's a man of his
buddy.
word.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. And that's what sucks about pro sports, too, is players and coaches, guys that we end up really enjoying, it's inevitable that they're going to leave at some point. Whether it's free agency, trade, fired, it doesn't matter. It's never the storybook ending, is it, Carey?
Ever. It's never. Dude, who's leaving? I like that guy. You like me? I'm gone. I mean, it's the ugly part of the business, man. You in the NFL, we call it not for long, literally, because that's the mindset. It's not for long. You are blessed if you are able to stay in a place for 5 years, 4 years. It's just, and those relationships last a lifetime, but eventually somebody retires, somebody moves on, free agency, or, gets cut, gets waived, gets released. It all is part of the sports. And, whether it's a head coach or an assistant coach, going to greener pastures, getting another job, it's part of the business. You love and appreciate those guys when you all are there, but you respect the business and you understand that at some point it's going to be over.
So the Blues take on the Canucks tonight, playing back-to-back. Does last night's victory, as fun as it was, is it erased if they lose to the Canucks tonight? I say yes.
No, it isn't.
Why?
It isn't. Because
you got to start winning games here, Jamie. You got to start building something. You got to start getting on a roll here. You can't just win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
Yeah.
You're going to find yourself out of the playoffs. So it's going to be eliminated. Boom, done. Doesn't count now.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Thanks,
Just checking. So ultimately, you'd like to win this one. You don't play the game to lose, and I know that the team isn't here right now to lose. And the last time you played the Canucks, you beat them. That was at Enterprise Center, and it took a heck of an effort, but you can beat this team. So it's not that it would be something where they're like, oh, we're going to go out and do our best. No, you want to come out and win this game because you desperately need the 2 points, and you have to keep rolling, Anthony. So that's one part that you're 100% correct about. Now, the flip side of that is you go on a road trip like this, it's tough, to where you have two teams in Seattle and Calgary that are directly involved with you, right there in the playoff hunt with you. And then you got Vancouver, who they're in another area code right now. That's a team that's not attainable in the standings. One thing, they're in the Pacific Division. And second of all, they're so far ahead, it doesn't matter at this point. So if you're going to circle a game to where maybe you stumble, this is the one. I don't mean like that they will, but if you have to pick a team to lose to on this road trip, this is the best possible case scenario, because you bounce back then and then you beat Seattle. You end up going 2-1 on a tough 3-game road trip, but you beat the two opponents that you needed to beat in Calgary and Seattle to kind of keep those guys buried beneath you as you look to climb up the standings and jump into the wild card race. But ultimately, you play every single game to win, and I know that the coaching staff and the players are not here in Vancouver right now to lose the game tonight.
Carey, I don't love his attitude. What do you think?
The only thing...
Just thinking about it, common sense.
The only thing I want to see tonight, I mean, obviously, other than a win, is don't tell me it's back-to-back. I don't... Just play. Play hard. You play teams that are on back-to-backs in their schedule. Like, give me the effort. If you get down, give me the same energy you gave me last night. Preferably, let's not get down. Let's get after them early, but just don't tell me, it's back-to-back, the legs are tired, this, that. No. You are in a position where you have to climb out and chase people down. You don't really have the opportunity or the ability to say it's a back-to-back, and we struggled because of that.
I think when you look at tonight's game, if they lose this game and it's a tight-knit, 3-2 game, and you see good things on the ice happen, and you don't get the right balance and they end up winning a tight one, I think you can feel good about that game. Now, if you get blown out 5-1 or 5-1, and you don't take any of that momentum from what you gained last night and apply that to tonight's game, then I think it's sort of a letdown. But they don't, in my opinion, they don't need to necessarily win this game to continue to build off of what last night's game. It just they need to play well and have a good showing. Just don't get blown out.
Guys, it's almost February. You got to get on a roll here.
That's why I said you got to win.
You guys just keep, well, Carey, I'm obviously not talking about you. I'm talking about these guys. You got to start winning games consistently.
The hockey guys.
Yeah. Okay, it's not October.
What if they lose in overtime? They get a point. How do you feel then?
Well, I feel a little bit better.
For me, I may not be as
I'll
far
be halfway up
as Anthony is.
Well, that's good. It's a starting point.
I want to be fully up.
Yeah, I may not be as far as he is, but I think just don't lay down.
Exactly.
You're not in a place where you can lay down at any point. Really, I mean, for the rest of the season.
Don't let their stuff feed into you.
I'm all about winning.
Thank you.
Play to win the game.
Division. What? Oh,
that too.
No, this is
hello.
Is the hockey team.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Different circumstances here. You play to win the wild card.
Hello.
The second one.
Yeah. At least this year. Yeah. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. We've got Prove Me Wrong. We're going to step into the courtroom of the Honorable Andrew Marsh. If you have a Prove Me Wrong statement that you want us to argue against, text it into the Air Comfort Service Stocks line 314-399-9646. We'll do that next in the Fast Lane.
Hey, it's Carey, and if you are in the need of some home remodeling, then you need to reach out to my friends at STL Design and Build. They have everything you need, whether it's interior, exterior, siding, kitchen, bathroom. If you need a deck done, I know the weather is getting a little cold out, but if you need this work done, STL Design and Build is the company for you. They came and did some work in my home, and I've told you all they did a fantastic job. They made sure that the work was done in a timely manner, made sure that it was a fair price, and really were with me every step of the way. They're an award-winning company that has taken home the top workplace award as well as the best home improvement company. They have over 150 years combined experience, so they make sure that you get the work done and you get what you want done and how you want it done. They truly believe in making sure they treat people how they want to be treated. The STL obviously stands for St. Louis, right? But it also stands for Sky's the Limit because that's who they are. That's what they are. If you need some work done at your home, you need to reach out to stldesignandbuild.com. That's stldesignandbuild.com and tell them Carey sent you.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
With Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, the Honorable Judge Andrew Marsh, presiding today.
Hey, good job.
For Prove Me Wrong. This is where you make a statement and one of us in the law firm of Rivers, Davis, and Stalter.
We've changed the law firm name a lot.
Depends on if you win.
We just try to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, I like it.
You ever see that show Suits? They change it like every show.
They actually did.
Yeah. Like every show there's a new name.
It's a pretty good show.
It's not bad.
It's a great show.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so this is where you make a statement and one of us has to argue against it. So, Judge,
here we go.
Take over.
From the 314, prove me wrong. Almost 90% of Major League Baseball franchises would be happy with a Mo Ali combo running their team and front office.
Here's the thing. One thing that we know is that the Cardinals have fallen behind the times. How do I know this? Look at their track record of late. Sure, in 2014, they made a World Series, but that was 10 seasons ago. 10. Yeah, they went to the 2019 NLCS. They were shredded. Since that point, how have they done in the postseason? Not well. They have fallen behind other teams. Why is nobody looking to hire Bill Belichick? Because he's fallen behind the times, people. We have seen this in other sports, and we're definitely seeing this now with the Cardinals. They need a new, fresh regime to take this team into the next 10 years. So, no, I don't think that 90% of the league would want this combination when clearly this combination continues to fail.
I'm going to have to refer to the court of public opinion. That is our text line. I think they might agree with you, Anthony. We'll just leave that at that.
Here we go.
From the 636, prove me wrong. The Blues will go on a run and be the 8th seed in the playoffs.
I would like Davis to take this one.
I'll take it.
I like Davis to take it.
Carey, they will go on a run. I mean, in order to have a run, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
That requires winning multiple games in a row. I mean, when I say multiple games, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8, 8 out of 9, 9 out of 10. The Vancouver Canucks are winners of 8 of their last 10. I've looked at the schedule, and fellas, I haven't seen a run of that sort to this point for this Blues team. So based on the history of this 2023-24 season.
Reputation, the track record.
The track record. I mean, these guys got a coach fired, right?
Yes, sir.
They good group of guys, great group of men.
Well,
but maybe not the group of guys that can go on the run that is required to make it to the playoffs. I just haven't seen enough, Your Honor.
I haven't either. However,
nice job, Davis.
I also,
way to go.
If I was feeling up for it, man, they could have went on a run and gotten the 7th seed. Just saying. From the 618, Sam Laporta will end up being better than Travis Kelce after his career. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, there's no way of that. One, Sam Laporta's a great local kid. Love the story. He's doing a great job right now with the Lions, but let's not get carried away here. Travis Kelce, he has reinvented the position of tight end. I mean, he's a wide receiver / tight end. He's a guy that you throw up the ball and you know he's going to catch it every single time. He's clutch. He's won multiple championships. The family just breeds champions over there at the Kelce household. So don't tell me Sam Laporta is going to be the next best thing since Travis Kelce, or even be better than Travis Kelce. I mean, those are huge shoes to fill. And I can tell you this, that all of Swiftie Nation, too, agrees that there's only one Travis Kelce. I don't see Sam Laporta dating a worldwide, super famous pop star at the same time and creating the ruckus that Travis Kelce has. So, well, I love the local kid, but there's no way.
You guys are on fire today. What can I say?
Nice job, Jamie.
From the 636, prove me wrong. This one is for Anthony. I just know it. Coaches in pro sports don't matter that much.
Well, if we're talking about baseball managers, I don't think there's any question about that. Baseball teams are largely, now there are exceptions, of course, Bruce Bochy being basically the only one, but most of Major League Baseball is run by the front office. It's run by the analytics team. It's run off spreadsheets and numbers. And then you just get a puppet to be your manager, and he can execute said spreadsheets. So that's in Major League Baseball. Do I even need to get into hockey? If we wait long enough, within the next 10 minutes, another head coach will be fired in hockey. So we don't even need to go that route. They're obviously disposable. Now in the NFL, we have seen some real geniuses work from a head coaching standpoint. How about Nathaniel Hackett? How'd he do? Huh? How'd he do? Can he call a good game? Good game manager? No, I don't think so. Do I need to bring up Arthur Smith? Should be working for FedEx right now under Dad, as opposed to calling games if he's going to ignore his three best players on offense. Going to basketball, the Bucks just fired somebody that went 30-13. Why? He didn't know what the hell he was doing. As long as you have a guy like Giannis or a superstar player, clearly you can still win with a buffoon running the show. I rest my case.
Oh, man, that's a tough one, Anthony. You really gave your heart and soul into that one. However, you did bring up football. There's a particular head coach in the National Football League that got his team into the playoffs this year, despite that team being absolutely terrible. Sorry, Carey. And that's Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Anthony, you're wrong on this one.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Last one here.
They shouldn't have made the playoffs.
Actually, we got two more. Here we go. From the 314, prove me wrong. Mizzou football will not make the playoffs next year despite a 2-loss record due to their schedule weakness next year.
Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. Let's take a look at this right now. They finished 9th-ranked team in the nation. They've had a fantastic recruiting offseason here. I mean, Coach Drink is fired up. They've basically got the same star players coming back here for another year. It's not the top 10 teams, guys. It's the top 12 teams, which means that the Mizzou Tigers are going to be a part of this dance. Never mind the 2 losses. They're not going to who said they're not going to have 2 losses? Maybe have 1 loss at best. This team's here to play this year. This team's not just to make the playoffs. Carey, they're going to make noise, lots of noise, big roaring noise.
Yep. And we know
M-I-Z.
that. And we know
Z-O-U.
that the college football playoff is going to put 5 SEC teams in, so they'll be one of them.
That's a great point by my associate.
Yeah.
So, yes,
well done.
Mizzou will be in the dance. And not only will they be dancing, they'll be making noise.
Yeah.
Well, if former Illinois star Carey Davis thinks that this team's going to be in, I mean, my goodness, they will be, right?
Nice job, Jamie.
Last one here. Perhaps Jamie answers it. Perhaps somebody else does. From the 937. Prove me wrong. Jamie and I will be celebrating a Lions Super Bowl in Vegas in a few weeks.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Mr. Rivers.
Don't do it.
The Lions are a fantastic team. They are a fantastic story. They 30 years, Anthony, without having a playoff game. And they've had 2. Going on their 3rd. This is awesome, right?
It's unprecedented.
This is amazing
never
what
happened.
the Lions have done. And winning a championship. How many times have they done that?
0.0.
And it'll be that way again. There won't be any celebration on 8 Mile in
Or
Detroit,
9 Mile.
Michigan, or 9 or 6 or whatever mile.
Be careful of that, too.
There won't be any celebrations there because Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will be having their celebration in about 3 weeks from now. Down there in Baltimore. B-more, as they call it. Baltimore.
Outside the bank.
They'll be there celebrating the championship. Now, the Lions will put up a great fight. They'll do all that they can do, but it just won't be enough because it just isn't their time, Jamie. So, unfortunately, you will not be celebrating with the texter from the 314. I'm sorry to tell you.
Nice.
Carey spoken like a true Ravens fan. Well done.
Had to hurt a little bit.
That stings.
That's former Pittsburgh Steelers.
You hurt me, I hurt you.
Hurt people, Jamie. Former Pittsburgh Steeler and Super Bowl champion, Carey Davis. That is ultimate Detroit Lion fan, Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. All right, we're going to get into Jamie's 92 keys to victory tonight.
Just growing.
And first call of the game next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Vancouver Canucks, looking to pick up another victory on their West Coast road trip as they defeated the Calgary Flames last night 4-3. Blues and Canucks tonight right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9. We talked earlier today with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. If you missed that interview or anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our Keys to Victory coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, the independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Tonight, the Blues will play the second of back-to-back games in Canada. They'll take on the Vancouver Canucks. Puck will drop at 9. We'll have the pregame for you at 8. Jamie Rivers now with his keys to victory. What do you got for us, Jamie?
Yeah, well, first one I've got for you guys is you got to have a good first period. And, Carey talked about, don't give me the back-to-back and don't give me you're tired and all that stuff. He's right. You don't have time for that. You just don't. You're trying to win hockey games here. And the last time you came into Vancouver, unfortunately, it was the same setup. You had played in Calgary the night before. You traveled right after the game. You got into Vancouver, back-to-back situation, and you came out flat in the first period. Whether it was the travel, whether it was the game before, whether it was just the fact that you showed up and weren't ready to go right away in that first period, it was a miracle that the Blues came out of that first period only down 1-0, and that was a huge thank you to Jordan Binnington, who couldn't hang on for the entire game, but did give you a good first period. So if you're looking to reciprocate a little something to your goaltender tonight, come out, have a good first period, get that puck in deep, establish your forecheck, don't give up big plays. You got to watch these guys. They transition the puck extremely well. They've got a couple of great defensemen on the back end who move the puck extremely well. They've got some forwards who are fast and talented. If you're not ready to go, if you don't have the proper coverage right away and you don't realize, what's going on around you out there, if you're not shoulder checking, they're going to get some opportunities. And unfortunately, the laws of averages will work against you where this team will find the back of the net. So for me, good first period is to start, defend the middle of the ice. They have a lot of skilled players. Let's put them in the dirty areas. Let's get them along the wall. Let's get them in the corner. Let's keep them out of the dangerous areas on the ice. And that's where team speed happens. You watch teams that are successful, that are highly skilled teams, they dominate the middle of the ice. They get open, they make those plays, and they're off and running. And when they gain the middle ice, they can go anywhere at that point. So as a hockey club, you want to defend and take away the middle of the ice, push the skater into bad ice. And all that means is forcing them to go wide and use the boards, and then you can use your physicality and end the play, or if nothing else, create a puck battle further on down the line to where you're not giving up the big opportunity for the opposition. So for me, the second key is defending the middle of the ice. The third one, it's kind of funny because, they have 11 shorthanded goals so far this season, but I would prefer this team to stay out of the box. They've got some real weapons on that power play for the Vancouver Canucks. And not only do they score goals, they generate a lot of momentum from their man advantage. You get a lot of speed, you get a lot of opportunity, and it's just crazy how that works. So to me, it's not a good idea to be in the penalty box tonight at all, so stay out of the box. Those would be my top 3 keys of the game.
Beautiful. All right. Time for the first goal of the game.
Let's go, boys.
We need you to score more goals. Get those loose pucks.
Thomas to Kyrou. Score! Goal!
No big deal. Game winner.
Jamie, you still lead us. You have 3 to our 1. Who do you like tonight?
Wow. I got watching the game last night and seeing this guy get a couple of opportunities. I'm going with Pavel Buchnevich. I just think that Buch is at the point now where he's playing a little bit ticked off out there. He hasn't scored a lot of goals here recently. And I just think he's got that burr in his saddle. He's getting to the front of the net. He's causing some chaos. I think Booch gets a rebound goal tonight. I think he gets rewarded for getting his nose dirty down in front of the net.
Marsh?
Man, I have no idea. Give me Torrey Krug.
Why are you laughing, Carey?
I thought he was going to go in a different way.
All right, Carey, the rest of the board is open.
Wide open. I don't know, man. I initially wanted, Jake Neighbors. Just do it. He's always in front of the net. He plays the game the right way. That young man plays hard.
Pick.
I'm going to go Jordan Kyrou. Last night, I had the idea to take one of Jake Neighbors' line mates because Jamie liked that line. And I said, give me the Schenner. And it was the Sauter who scored. Well, tonight it'll be Robert the Thomas because I've got Kyrou. Jamie took Buchnevich. So give me Jordan Kyrou.
Guys, we got a text from the 636. What about the other 89 keys that you teased, Anthony?
Yeah, Jamie, you kind of left us hanging. I didn't want to say anything, but now that the text line brought it up,
all right,
you kind of fell short,
more.
buddy. Yeah.
All right, let's talk puck management. This is a team that we talked about how good they are in transition. You turn that puck over, I'll tell you what, you'll be fishing it out of your net. You'll be feeling shame as the home crowd is cheering.
Jamie, do the thing with the paper and the stream, and the paper goes up the stream. Do that one.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Seal. What happens is when you play good teams like the Vancouver Canucks, the middle of the ice is like a river that has a strong stream, and it's headed back towards your net. And the puck, at this point, when you play teams like that, is like a little piece of paper. And sometimes you think you see your buddy on the other side of the river. It looks like he's wide open. Like, this is the best idea ever. I'm going to safely get the piece of paper to my buddy on the other side of the river. Well, lo and behold, we understand how that works. All of a sudden, there's wind, there's obstacles, maybe there's a branch, maybe there's a bird, something in the way. All of a sudden, the paper hits the river.
You have a weak arm.
And, yeah, maybe a weak arm. Maybe it's just a bad throw altogether. Like, who knows? All of a sudden, that paper, when it hits the river, it's screaming back toward the front of your net, and you are standing there in quicksand, and you can't figure it out. So tonight, the Blues got to keep the piece of paper out of the river, ultimately keeping the puck out of their net.
Good man.
Like it. We'll see.
You're welcome.
Nothing about
Any more keys, guys?
Well, nothing about clearing it, but that's fine.
Well, Anthony, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to pay off your clearance.
Yes.
Not your clearance camp because, one, it doesn't exist, and it never will under the Synergy Hockey umbrella. By the way, full slate of summer camps released just the other day.
Oh, there you go.
Synergy Hockey celebrating 10 years.
Oh, nice.
This year
Congratulations.
In the St. Louis area. Just visit synergyhockeyskills.com today.
I'm going to check out
They don't have no clear it camp?
Well, no, I'm sure they do. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. You didn't get in time?
No.
Again, I'm Carey. Just give me a second here, man. I know that. Okay, summer camps and clinics. Okay, what we got here? Got an 8 and under. Yeah, skills camp. That makes a lot of sense. Goal scoring and power skate, a huge aspect of the game. Oh, we're doing that again in week 3. Defensive camp. There we go. Defense. Let's see.
No.
Really? Won't be there, Anthony.
Gosh darn it.
After all we've talked about, I don't see the clear it camp. That could have been perfect in week 11.
Anthony, listen, I was going to pay off your clear it, okay? Is what I'm going to do here right now.
All right.
The St. Louis Blues, when their penalty kill is effective, they have great clears. And 2 of the guys that have the best clears are Colton Parayko and Nick Leddy. And last night, Marco Scandella had an incredible clear. They're killing a penalty late in the game. Marco Scandella gets that puck, and he rips it around the boards. I mean, no hope of hitting a teammate anyway at all.
No, yeah.
I mean,
no
real skill. No real skill at all involved. Just a lot of brute strength.
Yeah.
On that one.
My kind of guy.
He cleared the heck out of that puck, Anthony.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I could probably do that. I'd have a hard time standing up.
After week 12, there's only 11 weeks here. I'm going to add a 12th. You're going to be able to clear it like the best of them. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Clear it all right.
It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. We've got Bet the Board and criticisms and compliments and our 3 stars of the day next on 101 ESPN.
The number one thing is you got to clear that. You got to get that out of the zone, okay? Puck in the zone, out of the zone. And don't worry, I'll be there on the bench all day with this, yelling, clear it, clear it, clear it. The motions. Don't worry, I got you.
Who doesn't need a clearance guy?
Let's have a good practice today.
All right, fellas, listen up. We understand that as you get older, sometimes things change. Happens to all of us. It happened to me, to Anthony, happens to a lot of people to where, you start to have a lower testosterone than what you ultimately want and what you should have. I didn't know anything about that till I visited our friends over at Mentality. And, I thought everything was fine. I wasn't. Talked to the board-certified physicians. They asked me the right questions, and they asked me how I was feeling. And then, Anthony, the full blood panel, and the blood panel just never lies.
No, not one bit. Same for me. You're absolutely right, Jamie. Here's the thing. You got to do something about it, though, because Jamie and I felt the same way at different times. We talked about the low energy. We talked about the lack of motivation, or just maybe you had motivation at the start, but by the end of the day, you're absolutely wiped, and, you're like, man, I got to do this again tomorrow. Then all of a sudden the weight starts to creep back on. You're not performing well at work. You're not, at the top of your game when you're at home. Do something about it like Jamie and I did by going down to Mentality. 2 locations, one in South County, one in Chesterfield, just like Jamie and I did. You'll sit down, you'll talk to their outstanding people at Mentality about how you're feeling. They'll explain to you what they can do, and then they actually do it. Jamie and I feel great. You will too. Go down there, tell them Jamie and Anthony sent you. Or if you want to start off online, great. Go to lowtusa.com. It's Mentality. missed anything from today's show, you can download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN 100% free mobile app. All brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. All right, boys, time to bet the board. Marsh, you got some updated standings for us, kid? No.
Yeah, no, I do. So let's just go over yesterday's. We'll start with my pick.
Yeah.
Right. We'll start with my pick. Jordan Bennington over 27.5 saves.
Nailed it.
That hit. Clippers minus 9.5 over the Lakers. They won by 11.
Nailed
that
it.
was Carey's pick. Anthony, Vegas over 2.5 team goals. Got it.
Got it.
And Jamie went with the Columbus Blue Jackets over the Edmonton Oilers yesterday. So Jamie is now 8-4. Anthony, you're 5-7. Carey 6-6, and I am now 7-5.
Jamie, your thought process though, the Blue
Who
Jackets.
picked that freaking game?
The Blue well, you did.
No, who picked? No, I didn't, Anthony. No,
Jamie,
I didn't.
I got the note.
Screw you.
I got the note right here. It said, I want the Blue Jackets because they've beaten the Oilers 3 straight times.
They had.
It was a great idea.
They were a tie game.
Not even at gunpoint would I say the Columbus Blue Jackets were going to beat the Edmonton Oilers. No.
We thought it was strange too with the Oilers winning 14 straight, but
I should get a redo. Marshy, I hold you accountable, Marshy. I do.
What are you talking about?
You should be sending me a text message reminding me when I'm traveling like this. No, you didn't. Not yesterday.
Hey,
You did.
I have these two.
He did tell you on the show.
Did
I
tell
said,
you
hey,
on the
Jamie,
show. We need
don't
your...
forget your bet the board pick.
First of all, you don't tell me on the show. You got to text me.
Jamie, you're still leading. I thought it was a good pick. I thought you put your huevos rancheros on the plate there. It just didn't turn out, kid. All right.
No, I just cut them off myself and left them on the curb is what I did.
All right. Well, you're still leading. You can get the first pick
leading
tonight.
Can you imagine the lead I'd have if I actually made my own pick?
Hey, you picked the Devils over the Vegas Golden Knights the other night. That one hit.
Yep.
Okay. In fairness, I would not have picked that one either. I would not have picked that one.
It's all come out in the wash, you know?
But it's not the damn Blue Jackets.
They really had beaten the Oilers 3 straight times.
Well, and funny enough, they were out shooting the Oilers 2-1. Like it was like 28-13.
Yeah, they were
shots
outplaying
at one
them
point for the Blue Jackets. Yeah.
All right, Jamie,
Still
go ahead.
a horrible pick. And they've never done it. All right, tonight
all
we
right.
got a good matchup. We got a good Canadian matchup. We got the Winnipeg Jets visiting the Toronto Maple Leafs. I got the Winnipeg Jets in this one. It's plus 124 for the Jets. To me, the difference comes down to the goaltending and the defense. Obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a ton of offense available to them. You know, Austin Matthews got 38 goals already this year, but that's not going to matter. I think Connor Hellebuck puts on a show. Winnipeg Jets get the victory.
All right, there you go. Gary?
Well, I'm going to have to go. I've been staying with basketball. I'm going to go back to my Illini, who are minus 2.5 versus Northwestern.
The line dropped.
Yeah, it's FanDuel is at minus 2.5.
Wow.
So I'll take it. Even though Northwestern is, I think, 13-5. We're 14-4. Yeah, you know, it's a rivalry game. We kind of.
Well, I should fire the coach.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of coaches, we do have some breaking news here.
101 ESPN breaking news alert.
Chargers have themselves a head coach, boys. Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan to accept the head coaching job with the LA Chargers, according to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. So Jim Harbaugh wins a national championship, and he will now work with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Great fit.
Can't complain about that.
No, can't complain about that at all.
That
So
combination.
great for the
Might be a new
Chargers.
child.
Yeah, maybe. There you go.
Might be the fourth child.
It'll be the fourth kid. All right, Marsh, who do you have tonight?
Yeah, don't hate me, but unfortunately, the Blues are playing the Canucks tonight, which means they're going up against Connor Garland. Connor Garland has 3 goals, 1 assist. That's a total of 4 points in his last 5 games, and we know he does damage against the Blues. I'm going to go with Connor Garland to record a point tonight.
Okay. Jamie, who's the backup goaltender for the Coyotes? How do I say this? Vajamelka? Vamelka. Well, this guy stinks.
Yours sounded way different.
Yeah. Vamelka. Vejmelka been giving up a bunch of goals. 6 goals allowed his last game. 6 goals the previous time. 4 the previous time. 4 the previous time. This guy just goes on the ice and gives up goals. So give me the Panthers over 3.5 goals tonight against Vejmelka and the Arizona Coyotes. Over 3.5.
Scouting report on good old Vejmelka is that he's evasive. Not a great thing when you're goalie.
No. All right, Marsh, go ahead quickly.
All right, our 3 stars of the day. Number 3 goes to Jamie's coffee stain.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice.
This was a tough one between these 2 camps. Our 2nd star of the day goes to Anthony's Clear It Camp.
Yes. Thank
and
you.
The 1st star of the day goes to Jamie's Synergy Hockey Camp.
All right. Nice. There we go. Nice job. All right. We have Blues hockey tonight. Pregame at 8 o'clock for Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh. See ya.